And we are live. How's everybody doing tonight? My name is Anthony Brian Logan, and you're watching and/or listening to ABL Live. Thank y'all for joining tonight. We got a whole lot going on all over the place. I want to say first and foremost, rest in peace to the best of the best, the greatest to ever do it, Rush Limbaugh. An inspiration to all of us, definitely to me, by even doing what I'm doing right now. This is kind of like a radio show we got going on the internet. So RIP to my main man, Rush Limbaugh. You'll be missed. Also, we're talking about a Texas ice storm, Green New Deal, green energy. That's going to be the future. You're talking about, we got renewables. They want to go to 100% renewables. How are you going to do that when you got to use fossil fuels to de-ice the wind turbines? Okay, 25% or right around that of Texas's energy supply can't work because it's frozen. What's going on with that? Also, if you guys see that Biden Townhall dumpster fire, I know I did. It was a whole big mess. We'll talk about that, of course. The Minneapolis police being refunded after being effectively defunded. Why is that? Crime on the rise? We'll talk about all those things and more on tonight's episode of ABL Live. And again, I thank y'all for joining me tonight. You guys are the best audience anywhere on the internet. If you enjoy this show, if you enjoy the content on my channel, please give the video a thumbs up. Hit the like button, hit the share button, and share it. Email it, share it on your Instagrams, Facebook, Twitters, Insta Snaps, whatever you are. The My Book Faces, share it there. I'd appreciate you if you did that. Also, if you're not subscribed yet, whether you're a first-time viewer, long-time viewer, or you got unsubscribed for some mysterious reason by the YouTubes, go ahead and subscribe to the channel right now. It's totally free. And when you do that, click the little bell if it's there so you get notified whenever I go live and/or post a new video. So, also, this show will be available on your favorite audio streaming platforms, whether it be Apple iTunes, Google Play, Spotify, Stitcher, Anchor. A link for that will be in the description box. If you want to just search for ABL Live in your favorite audio streaming platform, I should pop right on up. This particular show will be available, what's today? Wednesday. So it'll be available on Friday morning, 8 a.m. And the Saturday show will be available Monday morning, 8 a.m. So that'll be how that goes. But yeah, thank you all for being here. We got a whole lot going on. I guess first things first would be the Texas ice storm. Matter of fact, before I get to Texas, I'm going to talk about Texas. Let's talk about Rush. RIP to Rush Limbaugh. One of the best to ever do it, if not the best to ever do it. The best of the best, I say. Definitely inspiration for me when I first started even getting into conservatism, let alone doing what I'm doing as far as talking. Before that, I would listen to him just to get the day's news. You know, I may have told my story before about, having the red pill moment. And once that door opened, once the red pill hit, everything just kind of, the world opened up to me. And what I started to do was read and watch and just take in whatever information I could to gain more information. And a big part of what I did was listen to Rush Limbaugh, because I was always told that, hey, don't listen to Rush Limbaugh. Rush Limbaugh's a racist and he hates black people, all this and that and the third. Now, I never listened to the man myself, so I had no idea. All I was just doing was going off of the word of those that were telling me these things. So I'm like, okay, he must be a racist. He must be a bad man. And then one day I was like, you know what? How about I turn on Rush Limbaugh? Let me just find him and see what he's all about. Just see for myself. Is he racist? Is he bad? Is he all these things? And what I found was everything just made sense. It was all just, okay, I agree with that. I agree with that. I don't see what the problem is, and that's one of the moments that let me know that you got to just take a look at things for yourself. That's why I always tell you guys, I'll put my links in the description box below. You can read it for yourself, see it for yourself. I always say that because that's what I had to do when it came to finding out about being conservative and about the tenets and about some of the figures in conservatism, Rush Limbaugh being one of them. I used to always listen to Rush Limbaugh like a podcast, okay? I didn't so much lately because I'm focusing on doing my own content, and I don't want to have other creators having some of their sayings get into what I say. Of course, it's going to happen to a certain extent, but I don't want that to be a normal thing. But Rush Limbaugh, that'd be my podcast. Whenever I'm doing something, I listen to the whole thing, the whole radio show. just clear all the way through. I know a lot of you guys been listening to Rush Limbaugh for like 30 years. Let's say I think somebody said 32 years. Like, it's he was really, he made a big impact on the world, changed the game. We talking about talk radio and conservatism. He really was a tremendous impact. And to get the Medal of Freedom or Medal of Honor, whatever that was that Trump gave him, to get that medal during that ceremony, it was something that had to happen. Okay, give him his flowers while they're still here, and just honor him while he's on Earth, rather than talking about him afterwards, like, oh, Rush was this, Rush was that. No, I tell you straight from years ago when I first heard about Rush, if Rush was the truth all day long, the way he was able to communicate, some of his catchphrases, talent on loan from God, all this and that, a lot of those things, it just made sense. He was able to get across a certain message. And I think that now that he's gone, we could celebrate his life and we could build upon what he started. We could build upon his legacy. Okay, we can't just let all that energy just go to waste, for sure. All right, so yeah, and if you guys don't know, he had lung cancer and he was 70 years old, Rush Limbaugh. So rest in peace. Yeah, a lot of you guys listened to him for a long time. It said 8 years, 12 years, 20 years. Wow, that's amazing. Since 93, that's amazing. Like, a lot of you guys have been listening to Limbaugh for longer than some other guys in the chat have been alive. And shout out to Trump for speaking about him. I heard him on Fox News earlier. I think he's been on OAN also, if I'm not mistaken. But he was speaking about Rush, and it was just glowing remarks. Now, I think Rush may have said some things about Trump that were negative, maybe towards the end. I'm not really sure about that, because towards the end, I'm not listening to any people on the radio really, because I'm focusing on my own content. But, Trump, it was all positive, nothing negative. He was saying, hey, you earned this, you deserve this. And I don't even think that negative stuff was really real. I think that might have just been media rumors, because when Fox asked Trump, that Rush talked to you after the election, this 2020 election, he was like, yeah, I did talk to him. He spoke about how he thought election was stolen. He said he was mad about it. And I was mad about it too. So I think Rush, was definitely a friend of Trump, a friend to the end, always had his back. And it was amazing to know that Trump didn't even know Rush until he, ran for president. He didn't even know him. He might have known of him, but he never met him before. So they were able to form a relationship and a friendship after he, came down the escalator. And Rush said that he knew that Trump would win straight from the very beginning when he came down the escalator. Now, I think when he came down the escalator, I was still kind of, suspicious. I'm like, really, Trump? He's going to run for president? But I didn't know much about Trump aside from just, seeing him on television and movies, and just being Donald Trump, being the guy with the money and the guy that everybody wanted to be like and was trying to be cool in the limo with the women. And that's all I really know about Trump. I knew him as kind of like just a playboy and having money and a famous guy, a celebrity apprentice. I didn't know that he was so politically aware and sharp like that, until we got into the debates and you were able to see it. So what Rush saw from the beginning, we were all able to see if we didn't see it from the beginning. And he's been a friend to the movement for a very long time, speaking about Rush Limbaugh. So, yeah, we'll see what happens next. I'm not too much concerned about that right now. I'm more concerned about Bo Snerdley and the whole EIB network and his wife and everybody else. So shout out to them. All right. And thank you, Astro. I appreciate you. I'm just trying to do what I do. If I can give a little bit of what Rush had to the movement, then I'll be over the moon with that. Because Rush was like this towering, just, icon that everybody knows. And one thing that Trump said that I tend to believe is that when Rush got his medal, last year during the the State of the Union address, when Rush got his medal, everybody on the right side of the aisle stood up and applauded. Nobody on the left stood up and applauded, but everybody in the room, left, right, center, whatever, everyone respected Rush. Okay, and you can't buy that. No amount of partisanship, you can't get that. That's just going to be because, hey, I show and prove my work. I show and prove. You can't take my work from me. You can't take 30 years of radio from me. You can't take what I've done for the movement away from me. So yeah, RIP to my man Rush. I definitely want to give him his flowers. Now that he's gone, but hopefully I was able to, hopefully people like Bo and maybe even Rush would see what guys like myself were doing and others were doing to try and carry the torch. Because Rush can only do so much. Even if Rush was still here, he would still need people like myself and many others to help him in the fight, because only one guy can only do so much. You got to have a lot of people on your team to be right there with you. So now that he's gone, the team is going to carry on and still do what we do. And we're trying to get new guys and girls on the team to help move the movement forward, because on the other side, the left, oh man, they're getting ridiculous. They're getting crazy with some of the insults, but that's to be expected. When somebody like Rush dies, they're talking about all kind of crazy and vile things, but that's what they do. And it's typical of the left. They talk about, oh, we want to be united and one big tent, like Don Lemon said on CNN. Oh, we're one big tent. You don't care how you voted or who you. All right, we'll see about that. We'll see what some of their reactions are on social media and in the street to people like Rush Limbaugh passing away. All right, we'll see what's going on with that. But the negativity is irrelevant. Rush was great. So RIP. Absolutely. Now, you guys in Texas, what's going on with Texas? I don't even really know what's happening. I almost did a video on Texas, but I didn't really know where to start. First of all, there's a big ice storm, I suppose, and snowstorm in Texas, which is something that is unprecedented. Maybe you'll have snow occasionally, but for the most part, you're not going to get snow in Texas. You're generally southern state, so to have a lot of snow and ice and impassable roads, something that you're not really used to dealing with. It all started, I think, with the multiple car pileup in Dallas, Fort Worth area. Now that was crazy. And people were wondering, well, how do you have 133 cars that get into a mass pileup like that on the interstate? Well, I think that the interstate was weird. It's like a hill. And matter of fact, I was in Dallas in December, actually. And I may have seen that particular hill. I may have walked across that or something similar to it. Like I was on this big overpass that had the interstate below it. But the interstate that they were on, I think it was in Fort Worth, it was this kind of a hill. I'm like, why you have a hill on the interstate? That doesn't make any sense. It was like a blind hill. And if you're approaching it at a regular rate of speed, like interstate speeds, you're not going to be able to see what's just over the hill. So if on one side of the hill you have all these cars that are piled on top of each other, and you're going 65 thinking that everything is good or the coast is clear, and the traffic ahead of you is going that same speed, and then all of a sudden you don't have much room to stop, and it's black ice, all you're going to do is just pretty much slide into the next car. You could just cease accelerating. You can try to do your brakes and it can make a difference. You can have 4-wheel drive. Unless you got some type of bird's eye view, chains on your tires, and stuff like that, it's hard to really avoid the whole situation. All that can happen is that the police come out there, put out roadblocks and signs that say, hey, don't go forward because it's a pileup. So 133 cars in the pileup. I think there were 6 people that died. If I'm wrong about the number, let me know in the comments. But I know people died in that, so that was really pretty tragic. But that's how it started with the big pileup. And then you had the ice storm, the snowstorm, and the power outages. Now, this is terrible because, you're dealing with very cold temperatures. And people down in Texas, a lot of times, don't even have the proper attire to deal with cold weather because you're not used to it. People in the north, like New York, Connecticut, Jersey, Maine, Rhode Island, Massachusetts, they're going to have heavy coats and all these things. Chicago, Michigan, Wisconsin, they're going to have heavy coats and gloves and scarves and all type of stuff to keep themselves warm, right? They may even have little things like little warmers, battery power, all kind of little gadgets to keep themselves warm in inclement weather in case the power goes out and they can't leave. A fireplace perhaps, so you can run that without having any power at all. But unfortunately in Texas, No fireplaces for the most part. What you need a fireplace for in Texas? Like why you need that? It's not going to get that cold to where that's going to be required. Okay, heavy coats for what? I'm in Dallas. What I need with heavy coat, really? What I need with a coat that is something that you would go out and shovel snow in for what? Why? But now they're needing it because the power went out. Now the issue with the power, I'm seeing different things that are going on with the power. Um, what I saw at first was what I think is a chief problem, and that's the wind turbines. Now the capacity, I'm not really sure. As far as I'm not sure what wind turbines percentage of the total grid is in Texas, not just Dallas, but all over the entire state. I'm seeing something like 13%, but as high as 25%. Whatever the number is, you guys let me know in the comments. Regardless of what's going on, the number is pretty high. It's a little bit too high. Okay. And of course, if you have a snowstorm, ice storm, or whatever, freezing temperatures, very cold, you're going to have these wind turbines freeze up. And if the wind turbines freeze up, then they can't be used. So there's no power coming from the wind turbine. Also, if you got solar panels and they're covered with snow, how are you going to be able to have them operational? Now, I'm hearing that some of these solar panels are double-sided. So if there's snow on top of the panel and then snow gets beneath the panel, the light reflecting from the snow, which is very bright, by the way, can be used to power the actual panel. Now, that might not be true because isn't the whole thing about solar power the heat as well? Not just the light, but the heat. Well, or the heat from the light. So if there's no heat and it's just cold, you might get some of the light, but is that going to be able to generate any kind of, but I digress. You got solar panels covered in snow, wind turbines covered in ice, non-operational. And then on top of that, you having just general issues with your other power plants, your nuclear and your coal-fired plants. But if you did not have so much wind turbines and you had more coal-fired or nuclear, then you would be able to have a stronger grid, in my humble opinion, because you're less reliant upon things that can have serious mechanical failures. I think, if anything, the wind turbines should be, they shouldn't be relied upon so heavily. It shouldn't be a big percentage of the total grid. They can be there because, the main argument for wind turbines is not even necessarily the Green New Deal. I'll talk about that for a minute. But the main thing about wind turbines is to say that it's free. When it works, it's free, because if you have a coal-fired or whatever, you got to be able to buy the fuel to operate these things. You got to be able to source it some kind of way. So you got to go out and buy it, whether it's your own source or you got to go out in the free market and buy it. You get gas, all that, you got to purchase it. It's expensive to a certain extent, depending upon the situation. I think right now it's expensive because of the big demand for it in Texas. It's very expensive. Normally it's not that expensive, but they're trying to reduce the cost of fuel. See, but the problem is, or the cost of power, but the problem is if you have things like wind turbines and solar panels not working when you have inclement weather, it doesn't even matter if you're trying to save money because you're not going to have power. So I think you definitely got to reduce the amount of the grid that solar and wind take up because they're obviously not reliable. And I think even Trump said that. Trump was like, look, if you have inclement weather, you have a snowstorm or ice storm, these wind turbines aren't going to work. And they're talking about carbon footprint. I think carbon footprint is not even really the point with wind turbines. That's not even really, if it's carbon footprint, you'd be talking about nuclear plants because they have a very low, if not zero, carbon footprint. It's not, going to burn like coal and all that kind of stuff and petroleum. It's not going to do that. The issue with nuclear is the nuclear waste. Where are you going to put that? They're talking about Yucca Mountain and stuff like that because you can't, is it even biodegradable? I don't really know. And then they were saying that they're going to put spikes in the nuclear waste. So if people in the future came across it, they would know not to touch it. Like they would try to put spikes and have some kind of universal language so people would know not to go over there and touch it so they keep themselves safe. But whatever. The thing about wind turbines is that they're also pretty harmful when they go to waste. You can't recycle that. You can have a big husk, these big blades just on the ground in the landfill. Humongous blades. just on the ground in the landfill. Even over in Europe, like northern Europe, Norway, all that, where they have wind turbines. You talking about these crucial, like extremely high trade winds. One of them blades comes off. You talking about a flying missile, a flying missile, extremely dangerous. So yeah, we'll see what's going on with that in Texas. But I feel for you guys. If you out there in Texas, stay warm. Hopefully the power is coming back on by now. I know some people in Texas said, they were gone 24 hours with no power. I feel you. I really do. I've had power be off for quite a while, but never in a situation where it's cold and you can't really leave. That's the issue right there. Okay, if you can leave and go somewhere else, you got to do that. When we had a tornado to hit last year in Tennessee, right by my house, I'm talking about the tornado was that close. My neighbor, like two houses down, had a tree fall. Well, my next door neighbor had a tree fall in the front of the yard, but they were back enough away from the tree to where it did not fall in their house. It fell like right next to their house and right in front of their house. But right next to them, there was a tree that fell, and there were some power lines right there, and the power lines were kind of pushed down by the tree right in front of their garage, so they couldn't actually leave in their car. They can go out their front door because the front door was somewhere else, but they couldn't actually leave in their car because the power line was right there. So I don't know if it's active or what, but even if it wasn't active, it's still right there, and it's still pretty high tension, so you couldn't even leave. But in that situation, it was still warm and we were able to go get a hotel room. But if you guys are snowed in and you can't leave, second day roads ain't been plowed or whatever, it's rough. Definitely rough. Yeah, no power and no water. And that situation is rough. So I think everyone should have some kind of emergency kit. Facts. Because if you have issues with your power grid not working sometimes, infrastructure being damaged, have an emergency kit. I'm not saying be a prepper, but be a prepper. You understand? Have some water. I got a few little kits around the house. I also got guns and ammo. If you're going to be any kind of prepper, like I said, I'm not a prepper. I'm just saying, if you're going to be prepared for any of these events, you got to have guns and ammo, period, because you're going to have some morons that want to try to take advantage of the situation and run in your house and take something from you. No. Have your guns and ammo to protect yourself and your family. That's first. But also have bottled water, dry food that you can eat without having to warm it up. Have ways to be able to produce fire. Have, warmers, have warm clothes, have knives. I got a knife right now on me, like in my pocket. Have a couple knives. Keep them on you all the time. Keep them sharp. Just keep certain things that can help you survive in a situation. And whatever you do, don't have your car inside your house. Like I saw, it was a sad story where this lady had turned her car on inside the garage to try and use the car to keep the house warm. But that's not going to work because it's carbon monoxide. So I think there was a house of 4 people. 2 of them died and the other 2 had to get rushed to the hospital. So don't do anything like that, obviously. But my main thing would be have some tools that can keep you prepared in a situation like that. Natural disaster. I didn't live through a tornado, flood, hurricane, massive power outage. When I was in Virginia back in 2003, we had Hurricane Isabel. A lot of you guys may know about Hurricane Isabel in Virginia, like Virginia Beach area. Luckily, where I was living, our house was on the hospital power grid. So we had our power back pretty soon. But I know some guys that didn't have power for weeks. At like 2 weeks, 3 weeks, a month, no power. It was crazy. Yeah, if you have a gas oven, you can turn that on. If you have gas in your house, that's something good. But a lot of people had electric ovens, so they really couldn't do much with that. But if you have a gas oven, you can do that. Yeah, generators. Yeah, I heard about people having generators like that backup battery generator that you can put on your house. I've heard about that. I might look into getting one of those. Generac. If you guys know about that, let me know in the comments. I'm hearing about the Tesla battery as well. Yeah, but if you got a generator, make sure that you do what the manufacturer says. If you got one of these gas powered generators, keep them outside. Obviously, never ever bring a gas powered generator in your house. Keep that outside. Not even in your garage. Keep that outside. But some of these generators, they work pretty well. I think they put them on the side of your house, and when you're using your regular electricity, that can just snap on when you need it for a period of time. It may not last forever, maybe about 8, 16 hours or whatever, but it'll last long enough to get you through the night to get up in the morning and find a way to get out of your situation. All right. So that's what's going on with that. Oh yeah, Hurricane Katrina. That right. That was a crazy situation. Hurricane Katrina happened. Some of you guys from down there in Louisiana came up to Virginia. It was a lot of you guys in Atlanta, Houston, Virginia, everywhere. It was crazy. But yeah, we had Hurricane Isabel. It was nowhere near as bad as Katrina. Katrina was like the perfect storm, with no pun intended, and not to be trying to be funny. But it was so many things. So many things that happened. It was that storm surge, and all the water just flooded in, and you couldn't do nothing about it. Yeah, hey, like I say, I'm not quite a prepper, but I'm prepared. Okay, if we have something happen right now where power goes out, big snowstorm, I'm ready. Okay, first of all, I got a 4x4 truck. So if it's just snow and, ice ain't necessarily the issue. If it's just kind of like bad conditions, I can get out of where I live at. And I got plenty dry food, plenty water, first aid kits, multiple kits. I got guns, ammo, knives, whatever you need, I got it. I'm ready to go. I'm ready to rock. I got, heavy clothes, boots, all leather, so I can get into, you know, tall water and I'll be fine. I won't damage my feet doing that. So yeah, I'm ready for whatever. But like I say, I'm not necessarily a prepper. I don't plan to be a prepper. Now I know some real preppers, some guys that got water silos, water purification systems. They got grain. I know a guy that has like an actual bunker with everything in there that will last for years. So I'm not quite on that level. I need to get on that level, but I'm a normie prepper. Put it to you like that. But I digress. Prayers out to everybody out there in Texas. Hopefully everything will be okay. Hopefully that snow melts. Hopefully you get them snow plows into the secondary roads that are not there already. Alrighty. But what else we got going on? Oh, did you guys see the Joe Biden Townhall? Now, this Biden Townhall was a big time dumpster fire. Huge dumpster fire. I didn't even know about it, first of all. I had no idea it was on. I probably would have watched it if I knew it was on because I got to see the dumpster fire. That's one thing when you in the road driving, there's a crazy wreck or people are arguing. I want to just slow down a little bit to see what's happening. Hopefully, I see the wreck. Everybody's all right. Okay, is a car mangled up? What kind of car is it? Is it a Jaguar? Is the little dog or whatever? Is that on the ground? What's happening? I want to see that. And also, is it a fight? Are they arguing? Who's winning? I want to see it, right? I'm rubbernecking, so that's why traffic slowed down. But anyway, okay, I want to see the dumpster fire, and this town hall was that. This guy Biden is not well, obviously. I mean, I'm not really sure why they even had him out there. For what? Nobody even really cares. All right, your base, Joe Biden, does not care about what you're talking about. I mean, if you don't go out there and say stimulus checks tomorrow, they don't really care. And people like me, I don't care enough to really try to debate you on issues. All I care about is just seeing how you mess up. Like I say, I'm trying to see the dumpster fire. If you are in the fight, I'm gonna say I bet you get beat up. Basically, that's what I say. But anyway, oh yeah, I'm gonna talk about that, Miss. Just because I'm gonna talk about that. Thank you for prompting me to talk about it. But he said quite a few humdingers in his town hall on CNN. The first one I'm gonna talk about is right there from Mr. Just Because. I said Mr. Just Because. So just because Mr. Just Because says can't get on the internet, he's going to spend $1 billion for Hispanics and blacks to get online. That was the craziest thing. So the question was, hey, why are blacks and Hispanics lagging behind when it comes to getting the vaccine? And he said a few things. But one thing he landed on was, well, hey, maybe the blacks and Hispanics in the inner city and in the rural area don't know how to get online and reserve their seat to get the vaccine. It's like, really? We don't know how to get online and do that. So, I mean, first of all, people were trying to defend this man, talking about, oh, he said rural. He was talking about people that have trouble getting on the internet in rural areas. First of all, the thing about rural areas is not the lack of access to internet necessarily. It's the lack of high speed internet, broadband internet. That's the problem in rural areas. All right. Where I'm at in Tennessee, I got blazing fast internet. But if you kind of go way out there in the sticks, in the woods, it's not quite that way. It's a connectivity issue. They may have a cell phone with 4G or 3G on it, and that's adequate to get you to what you got to get to. When you're talking about signing up for a website, I mean, they can get on Facebook and stuff like that. That's adequate internet to go on the website and, fill out 3 or 4 lines. But when you're talking about trying to watch Netflix and that kind of thing, it's kind of hard to do that out there in the sticks. You understand what I'm saying? That's the problem. And connectivity issues do not equate to, I don't know how to use the internet, right? When I didn't have a car, I still know how to drive. when I didn't have a car for a while, I could still get in a car and drive. My ability to drive was not lost because I didn't have a car. And it's not even that they don't have a car in the rural area. It's that they don't have a good car. So if I have a hoopty, I know how to drive. It's just that I have a hoopty. I might have to put water in it every 5 seconds to make sure it doesn't overheat and blow up on me. But it still drives, and I still know how to drive. All right. But anyway, that was the explanation. Blacks and Hispanics, they don't know how to use the internet. They're not really tech savvy. It's like, come on. It reminds me of what I saw on Fox News from Ari. I forget his last name, but he did this experiment. Not experiment, but what he did was just go to one area and another area and ask about blacks being able to get to the DMV so they can get an ID to vote, right? Now, the first area he went to was, I think, a college in California. I'm not sure exactly where it was, but you guys know. You guys know everything. But he was at a college in California, and he's asking all these white liberals and all these other colored liberals, hey, do you think it's racist to say that you got to have ID to vote because a lot of black folks, is it racist to say that? And they're like, yeah, it's racist because, black people, they can't get to the DMV. They don't know where the DMV is. So it's racist to say that you got to have an ID to vote. It's like, what? I know where the DMV is. It's right down there, Greenbrier Parkway, Kentsville, Nemo, whatever. I know where it is, right? And then they went to Harlem, where a lot of black folks are at, and he's asking them about, is it racist to have to, oh, no, what he said was, do you know where the DMV is? And they're like, yeah, it's right down there. Go down that way, it's right there. And he was asking the question, and they were kind of like, what are you talking about? Yeah, I know where the DMV is. I'm not a moron. I live right here. I know where it's at. So the reality of what's happening with black folks is totally lost on these brainwashed people at these universities and corporate America and Joe Biden himself. He don't know what's going on. Joe Biden don't know what's going on with his own life, let alone black folks, white folks, anybody. He's lost today. Towards the end of the whole thing, he was talking about, or at one part of the thing, I think Anderson Cooper asked him, how does it feel to be the president? How does it feel to be in the White House or the White House residence? He was like, hey, I ask my wife every day, where are we at? Where the H are we? It's like, yeah, you're joking. You're saying that in jest, but you're really serious. You don't really know where you are. You don't really know what's happening. Okay. And that's pretty clear from sometimes he'd talk. He kind of just drift off and not know what's going on, be super aloof because he's in a whole different world. His body is in DC in the Oval Office or whatever, but his mind is somewhere totally else. He's not actually with us as he's talking. So yeah, he said quite a few things. I forgot all the things he was saying. Talking about the minimum wage. He was lost on that, saying, because Anderson Cooper asked about the CBO report that says, hey, if you raise the wage $15, you're going to lose 1.1 million jobs. And he's like, nah, but you got to do it over a period of time. He was not doing a very good job of explaining it. And there was no real challenge from Anderson Cooper. on the particular questions he asked, and he didn't ask anything serious. He did not ask about TJ Ducklo. Remember the whole thing with TJ Ducklo? I did a video about that. TJ Ducklo was the deputy press secretary for like 24 days, not even a full month, not a full 30 days, or 28 Black History Month days. He didn't get a month. He almost got a month, but not quite, because he threatened a female reporter. Now, this story would have been covered much differently in the media if this happened under Trump. Like, let's say you had Sean Spicer in there and he threatened a female reporter doing an article on him, talking about his love life or something. Oh man, can you imagine what the headlines would be? Spice was the nicest guy you ever really see. And they dog him, they trash him. Dancing with the Stars is talking about, oh, hope he fails. Hopefully he gets injured, all this and that. But TJ Ducklo, freaked out on this lady because she's doing an article, cussing at her, talking about, oh, you're mad because this guy didn't want you. He wanted my girlfriend. I'm with her now. It was crazy. It got to the point where the White House had to talk about it. It got out to the media, and they're asking Jen Psaki about it. She's talking about, oh, we gave him a week suspension with no pay. But Joe Biden said before all of this happened, before this was even a thing, he said, hey, if I catch anybody disrespecting anybody in this administration, they're going to get fired on the spot. And that didn't happen. As a matter of fact, Jen Psaki said that Ducklo was suspended without Joe Biden's knowledge. He didn't even know nothing about it. Joe Biden was down in the basement eating his banana pudding, applesauce, cleaning his dentures or whatever, chilling, doing old man stuff. And all of the things about TJ Ducklo and McCammon and the other girl, that was totally not even in his day. He has no idea about that. If you were to ask him about that, he'd be like, who is that? What happened? He doesn't know what's happening. And I said before that a guy like Joe Biden would not govern, nor would Kamala Harris. They are the figureheads, literally. And that's why I didn't like Trump. And that's why Trump was so great to us, because he's an actual leader. I think at a certain point we realized that these guys like Barack Obama, George W., Biden, they're just figureheads. And the people behind the scenes are really running the show. The hatchet men, the hatchet women, they're running the show. These guys in the suits have no power over anything at all. Whatever the Democratic Party says is what Joe Biden would do. That's how it goes. All right. He's not a leader at all. So shout out to Anderson Cooper for giving them softballs. I'm talking about underhand, age 8 through 12 or 8 through 11, peewee softball, whatever it's called. That's what he was getting during that town hall for sure. Oh yeah, playing Mario Kart where the country freezes. The media are still covering Trump golfing. It's like, why? Why are you covering Trump golfing? What's the point? He's not the president anymore. And anytime Trump would go golfing on the weekend, they say, oh, Trump's golfing while the nation is starving, while the pandemic is raging. Well, the pandemic can't stop, have it? I mean, the pandemic's still going on, but you got Joe Biden in the basement after the tapioca lunch, the little snack he gets from the home health aide. He goes play Mario Kart with his granddaughter. So you playing Mario Kart when the pandemic going on? Really? If that was Trump, again, it'd be a whole different thing. They're still covering Trump golfing now when he's not even in office. Why? For what? I don't see video about George W. painting every day. George W. is probably painting some masterpiece right now of a dog or a shoe or a sailboat or, a nice sunset masterpiece. I see zero coverage of that. But when Trump goes out, hits the 9-iron, all of a sudden it's front page news for what? It's stupid. But when Biden goes to play Mario Kart, that's not even really, it's covered with like, oh, this is so cute. This is so nice. But whatever. We all know at this point the media is fake. Anything that I see on the media is fake, in my humble opinion. All of it. Yeah, not softball. You're right about that. Sneaky. T-ball. Big facts. All right. Well, thank you all for being here yet again. Definitely appreciate you guys. If you enjoyed what you're hearing so far, give me a thumbs up on the video, share the video, do all that good stuff. Oh, Minneapolis police. I almost forgot about Minneapolis. Have you seen the whole thing about Minneapolis police? So last year, we know about, George Floyd happened. We all know about that. The knee on the neck. And people are saying that the officer, Derek Chauvin, killed George Floyd, and some say he didn't. There's a big conflict over that. You have two medical reports from two different examiners. The Hennepin County medical examiner says that the cause of the death was a fentanyl in his system. But the other guy that was hired by the family of George Floyd says that the knee on the neck caused the death. Who knows what the real situation is? I tend to think, in my humble opinion, it was the drugs, because both reports mention the drugs. You can't get beyond that. And I saw an officer touch fentanyl when he was putting it into a bag for evidence, and he had to get Narcan. He almost died from touching it. So if you got a lethal dose in your body from doing it, then that probably killed you. All right, that's probably what happened, not the whole knee on the neck thing. And I saw the videotape of George Floyd resisting arrest. They were trying to put him into the car. He wasn't wanting to go. Said, "Put me on the ground." They're talking about excited delirium. That's probably what caused his death. But different story. I digress. The whole point is that the whole situation caused massive riots in Minneapolis and all over the nation. But the ground zero of it was Minneapolis. And what was the mantra of those that were out there rioting? ACAB, abolish the police, defund the police. We hate cops. Cops get out. Cops are bad this, cops are bad that. We hate cops, we hate pigs. That was the whole thing. That was the whole message. So as a result of that, you got the city council not having the back of the police. The mayor, Jacob Fry, turning his back on the police, joining the rioters, the Black Lives Matter rioters, for quote unquote solidarity, and then kind of like getting rejected, but that's a different story. He was not taken in by Black Lives Matter, but still had their back. The city council, they got Black Lives Matter's back. So who has the back of the police officer? Who's going to help the officers when they really need it? Nobody. So what ended up happening was a lot of the cops said, you know what? Okay, I'm not going to deal with this. I'm not getting help from leadership. The people in the city, they're acting the fool. I'm not getting what I need to deal with it. So I'm out. Some guys quit, some guys retired, and then some guys took extended medical leave for PTSD due to what happened during the riot. And they've been on this leave since then, or at least for some months. So all in all, counting the guys that are on extended leave, they're probably not going to come back. The guys that quit, the guys that retire early, you're 200 officers short. You're 200 officers short of what you're supposed to have. And you probably need more than that actual number that you had before. They said they only got like 638 officers, but they need 838. They probably need 1,038 really to keep up with everything that's going on in the city. So as a result of all the cops quitting, leaving, going on medical leave, crime is skyrocketing because police cannot do proactive policing. They can't look at a situation, see what's happening, and prevent it, nor can they respond quickly to a call. So you got crime going up. What's to prevent somebody from getting on the bus and not paying the fare? Why? What's going to happen? You going to call the police? They're not going to come. They're not going to be here. Why can't I carjack this car at 12 noon? Why? The police ain't going to be here. They're not anywhere around. They're not patrolling this area. So how about I take it right now at gunpoint? What you going to do? Home invasion, no problem, because ain't no police going to come. You call the police, it'll be 45 minutes before they come. They're not going to come. So yeah, I'll do whatever I want. Shooting every night, fireworks every night, and you can't tell what's gunshots or fireworks. So at a certain point, the police have to be there. The city council, who at one point was saying, Black Lives Matter, ACAB, defund the police, they're having their own private security. Okay, so they got their own private security for 3 people, paying like almost $200,000 for 3 people, or like $150. 150 grand for 3 people for private security for a brief period of time in the city council because, oh, their lives are threatened and they don't feel safe at night. So let me get this straight. The same city councilman that go out there and say defund the police so you can't have security, regular Norman lives in Minneapolis, you cannot have security, but they can. Their own private security. ACAB, defund the police. All right, sir, with your your dark shades and your black suit, take me back home and park outside so you keep my domicile safe. That's what's going on. So after pressure from the residents, pressure from the outside, scrutiny happening because you got crime going up and jobs are leaving because who wants to be in a dangerous area like that? Now they want to spend $6.5 million on recruiting new officers. But at the same time, you got people in the city that still don't really get it. They think that the police are the problem and they want to not only defund the police, but disband the police in Minneapolis and have mental health experts, social workers. Like I said in my video, you're going to have this guy, he's 6'8", 300 pounds of rock solid muscle. John Coffey, Green Mile, Paul Bunyan. You're going to have that guy angry, high on drugs, having a manic episode. And here comes this little 5'2" young lady out of college with a clipboard. I mean, look, this actually happened already. So I'm not just, making the story up, trying to be giving you the extreme. It already happened. Matter of fact, here's a story right here. Okay. This was December the 3rd of 2020, if I'm not mistaken. Okay, let's go ahead and put it on the screen. Give me 1 second here. And if you like what you're hearing so far, give me a thumbs up. And let's get this up here. All right. So, and this is in Seattle. You have a young lady, a social worker, stabbed to death by her client as the city pushes to replace police with social workers. So she got stabbed to death. She got stabbed, I think, 15 times? Yeah. And come on. 42-year-old lady. This is somebody's grandma. Not grandma quite yet, but somebody's mom, somebody's aunt getting stabbed to death. So it's like, and it wasn't even it probably wasn't even like a call. You understand? It probably was just, a run-in. So imagine if you have a call where somebody is having an episode actively. They're out to have an episode actively, and you're called to try and calm everything down and apprehend this man. What is she going to do? Okay, here's the actual story. So yeah, that was December the 3rd, 2020. I mean, what's going to happen? I've seen this happen. Like, I've seen guys that, I've seen the police get called out to regular calls, basic stuff, get into a shootout with whoever they get called on, a whole shootout for nothing, over nothing. People that say defund the police are just ignorant. Okay. And the guy, 58 years old. So she's much younger than he was, but it's still a man at the end of the day. Okay, let me see. Let me see if it was a call. Public housing resident showed up at an apartment complex. Yeah. So he walked into her office and did this. So it wasn't even a situation where she got called out to a call. And he wasn't in the active episode before that. He went to her office and killed her. Now, my thing is this. All right, you're going to have her go out into a dangerous crime scene. You can't even have the firefighters go to a dangerous scene without the police going first. Okay, it could have been some arson, it could have been some foul play or whatever the case. It could be a dangerous situation. You got to have the police go in first to make sure that the area is clear, make sure it's safe. That's why police and fire work hand in hand. When Dad was a captain of the fire department, he worked out of the police headquarters in Norfolk. So I go in there, I see him, then I see chief of police, I see police staff, I see the suits of law enforcement all working together with the fire department because it's all the same thing. People don't understand these things. They think that you could just send anybody out there like a mental health expert is some kind of snake charmer. That's not how that goes. All right. That's not how it is. If a guy's having a manic episode, He's firing his gun off. He's swinging the knife. You're not going to be able to just talk him down off of that ledge. That's just not what it is. All right. Yeah, she could be a grandma at 42. You're right about that. So it is what it is. Hey, but now Minneapolis wants the police back. My question would be, do any officers want to come back? If I was a cop in Minneapolis, I'd be like, no, I'm done. Because the problem that caused me to leave is still here. You got these morons that probably don't even live here. Or if they do live here, they're recent residents, recent transplants. They're telling me that they want to replace me with social workers. And if that same energy is there, I'm going to have a hard time being able to do my job and police effectively. So, I don't even want to do it. I'll pass. I'll just move on and do something else with my time. Simple. Very simple. All right. So, yeah, anybody talking about defunding the police, just don't. Just don't. Don't defund the police. Refund the police. Give more police. That's what you need. I've heard the phrase over-policed. Oh, minority areas are over-policed. What does that mean? If you have a lot of police in the area, it's because it's needed. If you have a very violent, dangerous area with a lot of police, that's good. That's a good thing. They're out there risking their lives every single day to protect people that probably don't even want them there. But they need to be there. If they're not there, all you're going to have is a rise in the crime and the violence against the very same people that say they don't need them. They don't understand that. That's just what it is. All right. Hey, that's a good question, Hadley. Why will Minnesota still vote Democrat? They're just ignorant. They don't know any better. They think that they're doing the right thing by voting Democrat. They think that Republicans are racist and evil. Meanwhile, the Republican is saying, hey, vote for me. I will do my best to keep you safe. I'm not going to let these miscreants from all over the country and in your own community harm you. I'll do my best to protect you and make sure your city is safe. You can't promise perfection, but you're going to do your best. But on the left, they don't really care about you. They care about just, staying in power and keeping their job. From what I've been able to see, now you've got some sensible leftists that don't think that way. But in Minneapolis, that's not what you have. You have a bunch of wannabe celebrities in Minneapolis. You have the two trans people in the city council. Now, it was like this whole big story about them being trans. One is a trans woman, the other is a trans man. But that was the story. It's like, okay, that's nice. You could do whatever you want with your personal life, but how about them policies? How about keeping your citizens safe? You guys want to have your own private security and gallivant around town trying to be Prince. Meanwhile, your citizens are over here like, hey, I got carjacked last night. I got shot in my hind parts. What are you going to do to protect the city? Nothing. But hey, I'm with you, Boom, 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 Howard. Boom says, I wish we had more police when I was a kid in the hood. Me and my brothers robbed at gunpoint when I was 6 years old. True story. Hey, man, I've been there. I already know what time it is. The police are very helpful. I don't understand those that say that they're not. People that say that, I feel like are in two categories. The police haters, you got those that don't understand dangerous areas because they've never been there. Or those that are criminals themselves. You got criminals that don't want the police to get involved with their business. So if you're an active drug runner, gangbanger, or whatever, you say F12, F the cops because they're getting in your way of committing crime. But if you're not a gangbanger, you're a regular normie, and you say F to police, you don't know what the world is like when police aren't there. You don't know what it's like to be in a violent area and have no police. I've been in a violent area. I've been in an area where it's shooting every single night. The police are needed. Without them, there's no deterrent. You're going to have more crime. You can't totally just eliminate crime by having police just be in the city, but you can reduce it. And that's the whole point, to prevent crime and to enforce the law. Oh, and one more thing before I get to the super chats. A lot of these guys that are out here shooting, killing, running, gunning, it's the same guys over and over again. When you have lax prosecution and judges ain't really doing nothing, these guys go on the revolving door. Okay, they shoot some poor sap in his kneecap, blow the whole kneecap off. He goes to jail for a little while and comes home. He's out in a year or two, and then he goes sell some drugs. Don't even really go to jail. He might get slap on the wrist. It's all kind of, you got guys that have been arrested over and over and over and over again. I think Freddie Gray or one of his friends had been arrested like 80 times. How do you have 80 arrests in like 25 years of life? Because you're not getting punished for your crimes. It's like catch and release. It's like fishing. We got to stop that stuff. We got to have real penalties for crimes, because if we don't have that, you're going to have the same repeat offenders terrorizing the community over and over again. And you're talking about Black Lives Matter. The same ones talking about wanting to protect are going to be the victims of the repeat offender. There was one guy in New York that got some kind of assault or gun charge and was just let go because no bail, right? You just let go. And then the very same night he got let go, he killed somebody. He might have killed 2 people, actually. That very same night, killed 2 people in New York. So we got to have crime prevention, and also we got to talk about this whole no bail and, lax sentencing. What I see all the time, people talk about, oh, well, if you're black, you go to jail for weed at a higher rate than whites. Pfft, please. Go to the inner city and see what's going on. You got black folks getting caught with a whole trunk full of weed like El Chapo and don't even go to jail. Will pretty much, get a slap on the wrist, probation, little bit of time in jail, like next to nothing. These guys are getting second chances, sympathetic judges, all kind of stuff. But I digress. I'm going down the rabbit hole. I digress. Y'all getting me triggered tonight. But super chats on that, and then we're going to get to the calls. All right. Shout out to Apple, who says, proud to have donated to Marine Corps Law Enforcement for Rush. All right. Adam says, just a donation. Jennifer Casey says, hey, Anthony, what do you think of Bido's disgusting racist remarks? My uncle is out of water in Conroe, Texas. You talking about Bido? What you mean, Biden? But the whole thing about blacks and Hispanics can't get to internets because they're just black and Hispanic and they can't do it. That's typical of Joe Biden, a racist. He'll say racist things. That's what he does. Let me see. Laura says, can't wait for Trump to start dropping truth bombs. Hey, I'm with it. I saw him speak today. Well, I heard him speak today on Fox, and he was talking about, some real stuff about the election and a few more things. And he was kind of like just holding off, not really going all the way with it. But I want him to just release some type of audio tape or video of himself talking about whatever. Just loosely, not even really caring. Just put it all out there. That's what I like to see. All right. Thank you to Hiram, who says, yes, God bless Rush Limbaugh, who said anyone on drugs should be forced out of the country until he got caught with enough pain pills to destroy a whale. Yeah, I don't know nothing about that part. I know that, he had his problems with drug addiction, but he was able to get over it. So shout out to him. Thank you to Alma, who says, I've seen a couple of tweets that are so hateful towards Rush, celebrating his death. Not sure what happened to Unity. Yeah, the Unity thing, that was just a slogan. That wasn't really real. That wasn't real, because if it's about unity, they shouldn't impeach Trump. They shouldn't even done that, because the result was predictable. Ain't no unity. They're trying to talk about, oh, you got to go to a tribunal. Oh, matter of fact, re-education camp. That's the next thing. Did you guys see what happened to the Central Park Karen? Now hold on. This is a good. I got to bring it up because I almost forgot about that. I almost did a video about that, but I just didn't quite do it. Hold on. I got to pull this up. Give me one moment here, and if you've not liked the video, please do so, and I appreciate you if you did. Okay, re-education camp. There we go. Alrighty. So what we have here, so the charges were dropped against Central Park Karen. I'm not sure what they could have got her on, really. I mean, I don't know what they could have got her on, because it was just a confrontation. It wasn't like she did anything to him. But remember this whole story right here, where it was a black bird watcher. He was in Central Park, and he was asking her to leash her dog, and then they got into it because, he was like trying to take her dog. It was a kind of a silly story. All right. But anyway, so the charges against her were dropped, But here's a catch. Here's a catch. She had to complete a series of race sensitivity training. All right. Matter of fact, here it is. Okay, let me put it on the screen so it's big enough. And hold on one second. Okay, psychoeducation about racial equality is woven into each therapy session to prompt understanding and reflection. Aluzi Orban told a judge of Amy Cooper's time with the Critical Therapy Center in Manhattan. Ms. Cooper's therapist reported that it was a moving experience and that Ms. Cooper learned a lot in our sessions together. So you got to have multiple sessions, therapy. What is that? Re-education camp. That's what it sounds like to me. So now here's a question. They're talking about trying to develop a list of those that are at the Capitol, right? And I'm not sure what they're going to do. Is it going to be charges? Here's what they might do this. They might say, all right, check it out. You can prevent any kind of charges coming your way or lessen your time, but go to this class for several sessions and, learn about the right way to be in America and, race relations and that type of thing. That's called a re-education camp. But when I say it, some may say, oh, you got a 10-fold hat, ABL. That's not going to happen. It's right in front of your face. It's right there. It's right in front of your face. So, I mean, what is that? It's re-education all day long. Period. Hey, but she took it because, I ain't trying to go to the penitentiary. They're talking about like a year in jail, maybe. I'm not sure for what, because she didn't do anything. But rather than rolling the dice, taking a year in the penitentiary, I'll take this little class, re-education camp. And some people may be weak-minded enough for it to work. Now, hopefully the lady that had it is not weak-minded, but maybe she is. If you're talking about kids and stuff like that, oh, I did a video about that. About the whole thing where they sent home this list of the 8 degrees of whiteness. That was crazy. If a child gets that or a parent gets that and they're weak-minded, they may just buy into it. They may buy into it and begin to believe it. Okay. And you don't want that to happen. You don't want people to be brainwashed because, they get targeted for a crime unnecessarily. And in return for having the frivolous crime or the frivolous charge dropped, they opt for re-education. You don't want that to happen. And you don't want it to be part of a mandatory thing where, okay, you get sentenced and then part of your sentence is having the re-education class. But I digress. I thank it to Lone Wolf 96 who says, never in my life have I heard of Texas undergoing that much winter weather. It's crazy. Texas native, by the way. Yeah, it's that global warming, man, all over Texas right now. The funny part is that they called it for a long time global warming. Then they said climate change. Then they're going to go back to what they said in the 70s, which was global cooling. They'll do that for a minute. You'll see it happen because it happened gradually. It was global warming. Then it became climate change when there was too many different ways. It was cold as ice, brick, crazy cold. Then it'd be hot. So now they're going to say global cooling. They'll put that in there a little bit here and there. Oh, because of the new technology and the fossil fuels have done so much, all this that, we're damaging the sun, so now we're cooling. That'll be next. Oh, this is a good comment right here. Plebe or Pleb says, yeah, ABL, I don't want to go on a date and have the woman ask me on a scale from red to green how racist you are. Check, please. Exactly. Matter of fact, if you guys have not seen that little chart, I try to put it on the screen. Oh, perfect. Hold on. Not quite yet. Let me get a little bit of time here. And I'll put it on the screen. Okay, here it is. Let's put that on the screen. And boom. Wrong one. There we go. So that's a chart right there. The 8 white identities. So you see a chart. This was given to kids at a school. Matter of fact, it was given to the parents. It was given to white parents at a school in New York City. All right. It's called Eastside Community School. And that's grade 6 through 12. And you see the little list right here. Hold on. This is a real thing. I'm not making it up. There's a scale. It's like a half circle, like a Chinese fan. No racist, but anyway. So you have the red part of the circle, that's the bad part of the half circle. Then you have the green part, that's the good part. And the whole idea behind this is to decolonize your mind as a white person, right? So you're not a white supremacist anymore. You got to be a white abolitionist. So it goes from bad to good, from left to right. You understand? First, you have white supremacist, then white voyeurism, then white privilege, then white benefit, white confessional, white critical, white traitor, and white abolitionist. All right. And you're like, hey, ABL, what do those words mean? It's just kind of like words on paper. What do they mean? Well, they got a whole guide to tell you what they mean. I won't read all of it. I did a video about it, but you can see it right here. And if you go to that video I did, a link in the box will show you this whole list right here. Okay, they got definitions and everything else. And this list is kind of stupid because it's all kind of typographical errors, grammar errors, things that don't make any sense. Well, it doesn't make sense from the beginning anyway. That's just a fact. But there's things in there that are contradictory, out of order. It's just stupid. But people sometimes are weak-willed enough to believe this and buy into it and think, oh, I got to identify with this because I got to fix my whiteness. All right. So matter of fact, I'll read the first one and then the last one. The first one is the worst place to be. If this is you, then you are a white supremacist and you got to repent for your sins of being not the proper white. But anyway, it says clearly marked with white society that preserves, names, and values white superiority. And like I said in my video, who believes in white superiority? I mean, I don't believe in white superiority. I don't believe that any race is above the other race. I believe that each individual should be judged on that, judged by the content of the color of the skin. It was a guy that said that back in the day, but he wouldn't really be taken too well nowadays. But I judge you for you, not your skin color. But that's the worst white person to be, the first white supremacist. But they want you to get to this stage. It's like Scientology, right? You got to get to all the stages. The final stage, the final form of whiteness, which is the good one, is white abolitionist. Changing institutions, dismantling whiteness, and not allowing whiteness to reassert itself. And like I said in the video, that means you got to be a BLM crash test dummy. You got to be out there basically getting punched in your face by a black person because Black Lives Matter. You got to be the guy that lays on the interstate at 5 p.m. rush hour to prevent guys and girls from getting home because you believe in Black Lives Matter. You got to be the guy that's out there getting locked up, beating your head, mace, tase, shot for Black Lives Matter. And you can't have any white babies because you cannot allow whiteness to reassert itself. So if you got a white baby, oh, that's the worst thing in the world because now you're going to produce more white people. And you can't have any non-white kids either because one of the other core tenets up here says that's wrong under white voyeurism because that says that you wouldn't challenge a white supremacist desires non-whiteness. So you can't desire non-whiteness because it's interesting or pleasurable or anything like that. So you can't find interest in the mate or pleasure in the mate. So you can't have a non-white baby or white baby. No babies. And this was given to white parents and the kids are reading it. And if your kid goes to that school and people are believing that at the school, what are they really? They have no chance. They're doomed. They're totally doomed. So if it was me, my kids went there. If I had kids, my kids went there. I'm calling the police. I'm taking them out. I'm calling the UN. I'm calling somebody because this can't stand. But the problem is that this is happening all over the nation, not only in school, like grade 6 through 12, like this is, but also you having it happening in workplaces. That's part of critical race theory. So if you're not seeing that before CRT, that's it right there. That's critical race theory right in front of your face, live and direct. You don't want that to happen. That's why Trump banned that on a federal level. The media would say, oh, Trump banned equality lessons and ways to have more unity among races. Well, last I checked, having unity did not mean you're going to call a white person, a voyeur because they find interest in things that aren't white. But I'll move on. Okay. And then super chats on deck, and then I get to the calls. Thank it to CEO to you who said for first super chat. I appreciate you for that, for your first super chat. Thank it to Candy Girl who said Texas mayor resigned. I saw that the guy that was like, get off your hind parts, get it for yourself. That was crazy because it's like, you have basically a natural disaster. What you want to do? All right. Lewis from Spain says his ABL live on Saturday next week could be your 2000th video. Wow, I didn't even know that. Could you adjust your uploading schedule to make it happen? Would be cool. 1982 now. It wouldn't happen this Saturday because that's not really my schedule. It might be a little while from now. I'll look into that and see if I can make it happen. I need 18 more videos, and I do 2 a day. It could happen on a particular day, but not Saturday because I wouldn't be able to do enough. I couldn't have enough videos in that period of time to make that happen and make it be 2000. Shout out to John Lewis Blackburn, who says the whole purpose of renewable energy was to reduce carbon emissions and reverse global warming. Well, we're freezing. Win-win. Journey Trials and Joy says the old generation is passing away. It's important for our generation to start living and fighting for what we believe in. Even if you perfect like Christ, people will still hate you. No compromises. There you go. I'm with you 1,000%. Thank you to Theophrastus, who says Joe Biden refused to criticize China's genocide because they have different norms. Imagine saying Hitler had different norms with his death camps. Exactly. Different norms. What does that mean? So it's all right to, have literal slaves because it's different in your country to do that. It's like part of society. I think some things are universally wrong, regardless of your, individual moral spectrum. It's wrong to kill innocent people for no reason. I would presume. So the cultural norm thing just isn't really something that works. Shout out to Don, who says change.org petition folding integrity state or federal ID fingerprint, and you have to be an American. Please go there and sign my petition. I'll check it out. Shout out to Mikhail Rodriguez, who says, sorry it took me so long to log onto your show tonight. It took me a while to figure it out, must because I'm Latino. Shout out to Laura, who says the mainstream media is addicted to Trump because they have been obsessed with their hatred of him for over 4 years. Trump was good for their ratings. What are they going to talk about now? Defund the media. There you go. Very well done. Shout out to Matthew, who says refunding the police won't do a thing if politicians controlling police continue being gutless cowards in face of adversity. The population believing the lies of crooked media won't help either. Yeah, that's what I was saying. It's like, okay, I wouldn't want to be a cop in Minneapolis right now because of what's going on with the media and everything else. I wouldn't even want to be there. Shout out to David, who says, I work for public transit in Minneapolis. They tell us if someone doesn't pay, just let them for the safety of the driver. Not worth fighting over $2. There you go. Like, what you gonna do? Shout out to Tyrannius, who says, slow Biden's obviously being coached in wokeness. Who is pulling the strings on this clown? It's, who's doing it, the DNC. Shout out to Young Manhood Channel, who says, appreciate you covering the CNN Townhall of Biden. I had to speak on that myself. Salute, ABL. Thank you for your comment and your donation, man. Definitely appreciate you, boss. Shout out to Love Live Serve, who says, ABL, lately I've been feeling down and gaining weight. I'm falling behind in school. I graduate in 2 months, and I am stressed about getting a full-time job. Any advice on how to snap out of a rut? Well, first of all, that's a really good question. First of all, you got to find a thing that you enjoy doing. I don't know if you like gaming or if you like watching sports, or find a thing that you enjoy doing and figure out a way to look forward to a thing every day that you wake up. Exercise, gaming, whatever it is, do something. Find something to do. Don't just focus on, because what you're doing right now is eating because you're bored. You're not eating because you're hungry. So find something that you enjoy and start doing it. Have a routine. Get up every day at the same time. Eat at the same time. Become militant with it. Because I was in your same shoes for a minute, and what I did to break out of it was I became very militant. I had a routine. I found something I enjoy doing. Exercising, gaming, get out the crib. That's very important. However you can. I understand you got the whole thing with COVID going on. I get that. But whatever you can do within your confines that you have, do that and look forward to it every day. Look forward to your routine every day. That can prevent you from just eating uselessly. And also, it can just relieve some of your anxiety about your upcoming job opportunities. So, also, just be thinking about ways that are creative to be able to make money beyond what a job can give you. I'm not sure what your skill is in, what your, if you're in college or whatever, what your majors in, but figure out a way to generate revenue without having to have a job, if that makes any sense. So, like I said, find a routine, exercise, physical activity, and don't be eating so much. Put the fork down, put the ho-hos and ding-dongs down, all right? Because like I said, I was there too. I used to weigh a lot more than I do now. I'm probably about a good 210. I'm 6'3", but I was up to like 275, 280, and it's easy to lose weight. Just the fork got to go. Okay, if you can't go to a gym, push-ups, sit-ups, crunches, that works. That works for sure. All right, shout out to Jennifer, who says Biden said he wants drug addicts and dealers not to go to jail. Instead rehab. I think Biden will be making money off of this crazy idea. You know, the funny part about going to rehab, you got to want to go to rehab. You can't force someone to go. If you do force them to go, that's called jail. So what's the difference between going to jail and being forced to go to a rehab? It's the exact same thing. So that was kind of like double speak right there. Thank you to Ty, who says, why the F would I strive to be a white traitor? Exactly. Shout out to Sneaky for your donation. Thank you to Plib, who said, thanks so much, ABL. Rush should be proud of you. You're carrying the torch, God bless. Thank you for that, man. It means a lot to me. Shout out to Boomhauer, who says, shout out to you for your video on a black girl playing a white queen. You killed it. I'm glad you guys enjoyed that. And shout out to Reese, my debate partner. She's a good sport. You know, anytime it's a debate and RT calls, they call in a lot of people and not everybody wants to show up. So shout out to her for always showing up and being a good sport and taking them L's. Shout out to Leo, who says the woman at the town hall got a surprise when Biden says a no, 50,000 on student loan forgiveness. Yeah, that look, that was hilarious to me. Matter of fact, the moment where she said that was hilarious. Hold on, when he said that was hilarious. Hold on. Matter of fact, here it is on the screen. And shout out to my man that posted the reaction. His comment, pain, and you see the face right there. That right there is like, I won't get it, will I? No, you're not going to get it, lady. You thought that this was AOC running? No, you got Joe Biden. You got 1994 crime bill. You got racial jungle. You got poor kids, smart as white. That's what you got. You did not get AOC in there, ma'am. So, Democrat or no Democrat, you ain't get that person. But I digress. All right. Did I get everybody in Super Chat? I think I did. All right. We got calls to get to. Thank you all for being here yet again. You guys are the best audience on the internets. If you like what you're hearing so far, give me your thumbs up. Like the video, share the video, do all that good stuff. If you're not subscribed to the channel yet, I don't know what you're waiting on. Go ahead and do that for me as well. And click the bell right there so you get notified whenever I go live and or post a new video. And we're going to get to the calls. Yeah, there was no way she was getting that student loan. And it was funny the way he said it. He was like, she was like, can you make that happen? He's like, no, I'm not making that happen. But, you know, at least he was being honest. I will give him that. All right. I call the line speaker to 262.
Hello, yeah.
All right, man. What's going on?
Calling for ABL.
You live
hey,
on the
how
air?
you doing tonight, man?
Everything's all right about yourself?
Hey, I'm doing better this time. I talked to you last time. I kind of made a little bit of a fool out of myself. I got a question written down here. I wrote the number down and everything. How you doing tonight, man?
Oh, everything's all right.
Yeah, that's good. I was just wondering, man, how many of these people defending all this far left crap do you think are actually just lying? Just flat out lying and in defense and pretending?
Well, I mean, I think some of them are. I can't really quantify it to say how many of them are lying, but a lot more people really believe in this. They're dead serious. They believe in it. They are very passionate about what they believe in. But some are just kind of like playing along, just actors out there giving a Hollywood performance, trying to get paid.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. I was just wondering what your opinion was because I'm right there with you, man.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, shout out to you. Have a good night.
All right. Thank you for the call, man. Definitely appreciate you.
All right. Bye.
All right. Yeah, great question. But it's a good question because some people, I mean, they're so ridiculous. It's like, all right, come on. I think when she's watching like television, when she's watching CNN and stuff like that, a lot of that's fake. A lot of that's fake. These Don Lemons and whatnot, they're not really real. Already online, 573, who am I speaking to?
It's Tyler. How are you?
Doing it right. How about yourself?
Not too bad, all things considered. We've talked maybe 3 or 4 times over the last year. I worked in talk radio for a long time, and here in Rush Limbaugh's former hometown neck of the woods, I guess you could say, or south of there, and listened to him from at least, maybe 23 years old solidly when I worked in radio. I mean, I'd be doing my work in the control room, listening and just eating it up. I was already kind of mostly, I think, Republican-ish or whatever, even as a younger person, made a few voting mistakes here and there, but not too many. And Limbaugh just really opened the whole world for me. And like I said, I've listened for probably 27 years, even after I got out of radio. He transformed just AM radio. I mean, it was not a graveyard. There were a few big guys in real estate, or Paul Harvey was out there certainly in his segments, and he was a giant, and some other people, but he just opened that entire field around the late 80s, and then certainly by the early 90s. You look at what he did there, and even helped launch, in some ways, the careers of Sean Hannity, who was a fill-in host quite regularly, and then even Mark Levin, who used to come on and give some legal advice. He was known as F. Lee Levin then, and I believe Mark Levin is probably still the #3 talk show host. These guys, depending upon your mileage, they're kind of the talk radio Mount Rushmore, for some people at least. So you look at all those things he did and just the amount of stations and things that he did in the industry. But not only that, at the very least, and I don't want to say for sure, he at least popularized the term liberal media. I'm not going to say that when I was growing up in the 70s and 80s, I'm 50 now, I'm not going to say that I know for sure that there was nobody that ever thought about a liberal media. There certainly were, but I think there were a lot of people, even if they were somewhat politically affluent or on a given side, that maybe just didn't think about it as much when Walter Cronkite, or maybe back when Dan Rather was on in the 80s, and some of those guys as much. But he really popularized and threw that term out there. And then you just have to look at how he completely transformed the landscape. I mean, the political landscape. I mean, he became the target even before there was a Fox News. Every time it's Rush Limbaugh said this, or the Rush Limbaughs of the world, and they would just constantly dog him. But just, you think about how he did that. I would even argue, and I'm not saying these guys are perfect, but when you think of conservatism in particular, a lot of people go to, or the Republican side of the aisle, a lot of people think of Ronald Reagan, despite some of his flaws. And then also later on, as far as this current movement with MAGA, Donald Trump, who transformed the landscape in his own way as far back as 2016. But that other guy who was out there transforming things, and I know I'm biased and some people absolutely hate the guy, was Rush Limbaugh. I mean, when I heard you say that you actually listened and respected him, I already love you to death, ABL, and you could be a liberal Democrat. I'd love you to death either way. You do a fantastic job, and I guarantee you, if you had ever called Bo Snerdley and he got you on the air with Rush, I've heard so many calls these past 27 years where Rush would have been delighted to hear your story about what you're doing on alt-tech media and even your business pursuits. He'd really, really be impressed. I have to believe that just on the sheer number of calls. I didn't know him personally. I did listen to him, or rather talk to him, I guess, probably 4 or 5 times between the mid-late 90s and maybe a few years ago. And it's just a really sad day. And the last thing I do want to say, and I know I'm long, but very passionate on this thing with Limbaugh, is that we're so fortunate for those of us that are maybe of like mind and countless others. And then, of course, all of you alt-tech guys, so not all are created equal, but some of you really bring something great to the table. You, for example, Stephen Crowder, I won't go on with a long list because the opinions will vary. And I am grateful to have all of you because we're going to need you. Someday we're going to be what's left. You're going to be what's left. And I was just thrilled to hear that you actually listened to and respected Rush.
100%, man. Well, thank you for your call. I definitely appreciate you.
Thank you, ABL.
Great call. Yeah, Rush was the man. It really was. Like a lot of what I do, it was inspired by Rush because before I started doing this, I was listening to Rush. It was like a podcast. Like every day, it was Rush. Before I started doing my own content, I had to focus more on that. I started listening to outside stuff because I didn't want their views to get into, my speaking pattern and stuff like that. I wanted to be more original and just say things from my point of view. Rush has his style, his way. I can't be Rush. I can be ABL. So, but yeah, every day. But the number to call 434-658-1220. Let's go to 416 on the line. I'm speaking to.
Hi, this is Cigar Box. How you doing?
All righty, man. What's going on?
Regular garbage. I was looking at you destroy somebody today in a little bit of a debate about a queen. And all I could think about it was, if this was like high school and college and stuff like that, I don't think it's a bad thing. But when you start getting into movies where they're doing everything they can to make it as perfect for the time as they possibly can. Like, I realize that in the past there's been problems, but in the past things were a little on the different side. We're progressing now, and you could just say, oh, well, that means people can just show up and play the Three Musketeers dressed like in camouflage and have bazookas and crap like that. When is it going to stop? You know what I mean? Like, I watched a thing about that movie, The Gangs in New York, and they were explaining how they went so far out of their way just to get the clothing right that they were looking through anything they could find, newspapers and stuff like that from the 1800s to get these gangs outfits. And I thought, if they're going to go that far, like, this is a little something different with the Queen,
That's a really good point because it's like, what's the point of going so far to achieve accuracy if you're just going to totally abandon accuracy when it comes to the most obvious thing, which is the person's race? It's like, it's making any sense. I mean, okay, you got the Queen of England, right? We all know how the Queen of England looks. You got a white lady from England. It'd be the same thing about, the Queen of the Ashanti tribe in West Africa. It's not going to be a lady from Sweden with a blonde wig. It's just not going to be that. It's going to be a black woman. It's going to be an African woman. We all know these things. So, yeah, that's a really good point you made about the accuracy being so painstaking, and then we totally abandon it when it comes to the most important thing about accuracy.
Yeah, that's pretty much all I want to say. I know a lot of people want to get on, so thanks a lot, Anthony. It's great talking to you. Talk to you later.
Thank you for the call. Appreciate you. That's a very good point. I didn't think about that. It's like, okay, you get everything down to the stitching. I saw this whole thing about they tried to recreate the Brady Bunch house. They were going through like different states and making all kind of crazy calls, spending money to get the accuracy of the set back the way it was in the 60s and 70s, whenever that was and they were recording, to have it look like that now in 2020, 2021. But you want to abandon all of that because of wokeness. You can even do CGI. They got it to where the CGI does not look that bad. And they're going to keep advancing the CGI to where it looks beautiful. You can't even tell the difference. They're going to have CGI actors. You can't even tell if it's a real person or not. But it's all about being woke. If it's a fictional story, it's not really as bad. But when you got an actual historical person, it's just like, come on. Even in a fictional story, like you got Black Panther, right? So if you have Black Panther, I don't want to see T'Challa looking like, what's my man's name from Harry Potter? I'm not trying to see the guy who played Harry Potter or Spider-Man or Professor Xavier or Captain America or Hawkeye playing T'Challa or T'Chaka. I don't want to see that, period. But I digress. Let's get to the next call. 760, you're on the line. Who am I speaking to? Hello, caller, 760.
Hello?
Yes.
I'm trying to get hold of Anthony.
You're live on the air right now with me. What's going on?
My name is John Fitzpatrick. I'm a retired Navy SEAL. It's still going on.
Hold on. Let's pause for a second. Turn your speakers off in the background for me, please. Just talk to me on the phone.
Okay, can you hear me now, sir?
I hear you well.
No, can you hear me?
I hear you well.
Okay, I was giving an introduction of who I am and be verified.
Go for it.
I was involved in the honeypot.
Okay.
Everything that he's talking about, 100%. It's still going on. Legislation was passed. I haven't seen this woman. Immigration, when things, you're more than welcome to check my history. Started out Intel with Navy SEALs, country officer, Middle East, retired 2011, 041-808-673. Are you there, sir?
I'm here. I'm listening to you.
Okay. Woman went by the name of Hong Ho. She was a travel agent. She had only been here for about 2.5 years. I explained to her as far as get a military ID, that I'm her sponsor. She went through other channels trying to get citizenship. She had told me that she was pregnant. Bottom line is, she tied me up legally.
Caller, hold on. Let's wait. Caller, hold on. I'm kind of lost about what you're going to what you getting to. I mean be rude, but I'm trying to figure out like where you're going.
No. It's fine. Is this Anthony? Are you live or?
I'm live right now on the air. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Yes. The honeypot. In fact, let's talk after your show, sir. I try to get a hold of you. Everything that you're saying is completely 100% true. The way that I actually got it, and I'm still dealing with it. She's tried to get me imprisoned in every way possible. Legislation passed as a sponsor, she's posing as a veteran's wife. Okay, if I get in prison, then all my disability, I'm at 90%. Okay, retirement goes to her. Now that's legislation that the VA had initially passed, which is in all rights good. Immigration.
Okay, caller. I think we need to like converse in email a little bit after this so we can get the story, because I'm having a hard time.
I don't want to do
this. That's probably the best way to go about it.
Air.
Okay.
I want to talk to you, like everything you're saying. Like I have.
I got you. Caller. But
amounts of information.
Let's do this. Let's do this off the air, so it's a little bit more. So it's a little bit easier for the audience to understand. So thank you for your call, man. Definitely appreciate you.
Yeah. Do it off the air.
All right. Okay, so I think I understand what you're trying to say. Maybe trying to talk about like Eric Swalwell and the whole thing with Fang, whatever her name is. And maybe he experienced that same thing about the Chinese spy and stuff like that. I'm guessing, but he is having a situation where it's difficult to really understand what he's trying to get at. But yeah, let's get to the next call. 856 on the line. Who am I speaking to?
Hi, Anthony. My name's Christy from New Jersey.
All righty, what's going on?
You had a segment about the Betsy Ross flag last year. Now, a month ago, because I've been watching your broadcast on YouTube, I actually went and I bought a Betsy Ross flag a month ago. And I live in a complex. Now, I'm 30 miles away from Red Bank Battlefield where she lived and created the flag. So I admired her for making the flag. So I bought it, and I had it hanging outside of my apartment on a pole. Well, one of the tenants sent a picture of my flag to my rental agent, and I had to take my flag down because they said it was offensive and racist. And I just wanted to know your thoughts on that.
I mean, that's just an ignorant person. Doesn't really know doesn't know anything about history. does know anything about America. Because if you were to ask a simple question, okay, why is it offensive? What makes this flag offensive? They would try to say something like, oh, well, it has, I guess, 13 stars on it. It's like, well, okay, look at your flag right now. Look at your U.S. flag right now. It has 13 stripes on it. So what's that for? And then they're going to get stumped. People just don't understand anything. People are just ignorant and think anything that looks kind of old is somehow offensive.
And the thing that cracks me up is my mother was Irish and Italian. My father was Afro-American, Cherokee, Lenape, Red and Sioux Indian. So there's no way that I'm racist.
Right.
So,
yeah. It's not a racist flag at all. Not in the least bit. You know, it's actually, you know, one of the it's the original flag, but it's the same. Like people say that sometimes to me, you know, I'm like, okay, these are the same flag. It's just one has more states on it. That's really it. That's the only difference. It's the same number of bars. I mean, the stripes, the same size of the star field. It's just more states got added as the years went on. That's all. It's just like trying to say that the Betsy Ross flag is somehow racist. It's like saying the flag that does not have Alaska and Hawaii on it is racist. It's the same thing. It's kind of silly.
Right. Well, I just wanted to call in and just get your thoughts about it because I'm a little upset about it. But in the same process, I put an American flag up in place of it, and I said, if I get told I have to take that down, I think that will be grounds for a harassment suit.
Oh yeah, and the thing about it, they're both American flags. It's just one is old and the other one is new or newer. It's still old relatively because I mean we've not had any new states in quite a minute. So one is older than the other, but they're both American flags. People are just ignorant and they just want to see it a certain way to be offended for no reason.
Okay, well I thank you for picking up my call, and you do an exceptional job, and I love listening to you. Keep up the good work.
Thank you for the call. Definitely appreciate you.
God bless you. Bye-bye.
All right. Yeah, I mean, these are the same. People don't understand that. People get offended. 1776 is like it's birth of the nation. This is when it all started. This is when we became our, oh, you still a slave, so what? It's the same flag though. Like, this flag right here is the same one that existed for parts of slavery, but we were able to get beyond that. Every nation, every place on earth had slavery. So if I'm gonna just trace my roots and go back to Africa, whatever that means, go back to whatever part of my DNA has the most, I guess. So it's like, all right, you take a DNA test and let's say it's like 30% Igbo, Nigeria, 20% Fulani, and 20% from, I don't know, Sierra Leone or Angola, South Africa. It's all over the place. I might have some Congo DNA, some Sudan DNA, who knows, right? Because not all black folks came from the same place in Africa. Mostly West Africa, but sometimes you came from like as far south as Angola, all the way up to like, Cote d'Ivoire, Ivory Coast, all of that. So where do I really go? And how about the white side? How about the native side too? It's so silly, but I'm kind of getting off on a different story, so I'll move on. 760, you're on the line. Who am I speaking to?
Hello, is this ABL?
Yes, it is. Who am I speaking to?
Matthias from Palm Springs, California. I just wanted to speak on the fact that, like in the, I don't know if you caught it, but when Joe Biden was speaking at the town hall, he said like, he was talking about how the older people don't like think as like openly about all these liberal things, and I was just kind of thinking like how like it sounded like he was like talking like he was racist or something, and I was like, if Trump would have said that, he would have been criticized by CNN and ABC and all that. But when that guy was talking about how he's 90% disabled and the VA sends his checks to like his wife or something, I was thinking like how the VA is so screwed up. Like when my dad's 90% disabled too, and whenever he needs his medication and stuff, he has to call them, and they are so disorganized they'll call us and tell us we need to like drive like 60 miles to go to an office, and then when we get there, they're like, "Oh, you don't have an appointment, and just call us back later, and we'll set a new appointment." And when I'm seeing all this going on, I'm just thinking like, how screwed would the medical system be if it was socialized like that? Like, and I just wanted your thoughts on that.
That's a very good point. I mean, and you're right to observe it that way, because that's exactly what would happen. When you have the government in there and they're running the medical operation, they have no incentive to do it well. Why? Because they're going to get paid regardless. There's no competition. So if it's just a single payer system, no private insurance, no competition, the way it is now, you have some competition, at least a little bit, within states. So if one company does not do very well, they're not, they're not handling things properly, things are just kind of weird, you can go somewhere else and pay them. So competition breeds better performance. Without that, it's just like whatever. It's like going to the DMV. There's no incentive to actually perform well. So yeah, when you have socialized medicine, it's not going to be a good look.
Okay. All right. I don't want to take up any more time. I know you got a lot of callers online. Thank you for your time, ABL.
Thank you for the call, man. Definitely appreciate you.
All right. Have a good night.
All righty. Great call. Excellent call. But yeah, I'm talking about that, for a minute. Things the government does, they don't do very well for the most part, because there's no incentive to do better. Why give you the best care? Why give you the best service? For what? Regardless of what goes on, I'm going to still get paid. So it don't even matter. All right. 949, you're on the line. Who am I speaking to?
Oh, hi. Hi, ABL. My name's Adele. And since you were talking about crime earlier, oh, gosh. And have you heard that in California is supposed to be the model for the rest of the nation?
Yeah, I mean, that's crazy. If you're talking about California as model for the rest of the nation, then it's not going to be good, because I don't want to have what they have over there. I don't want to have the homeless people shooting up drugs, doodling on the ground, the poverty, the ridiculous gap between the rich and the poor, unaffordable homes. I don't want to have that anywhere else in the nation.
Absolutely. And let's I have to tell you a little story. My 14-year-old son was on his way home from school riding bikes with his friend, and they stopped off in the park, and they got mugged. And the guy took his friend's bike, and he took my son's backpack with his computer in there and all that. And then they said, hey, they confronted him, give us our stuff back. And then he said, no, it's mine, and took a skateboard he had, raised it at him like he was going to strike him. And then he started taking off with their stuff, and they called the police. And then the guy got scared, dropped everything, and ran. And I guess they asked my son and his friend if they wanted to press charges. And they're just 14. And they're like, yeah, sure, why not? Okay, then the police officer calls me and told me what happened. He goes, you're going to hear a story from your son. I thought, okay, all right. And then a couple of weeks later, I was coming home, and there's a card from the DA on my door, DA investigator. And I thought, what the heck, And then about an hour later, big old bang, bang, bang on the door. And I got scared, and I thought, maybe he's back. What's this about? I had no idea. And then he left another card. And I guess he was going to come and try and talk us out of prosecuting, because they're prosecuting the guy. There's a case on him. And then a little while after that, I get a note from the school that they have dug up my son's school record.
Wow.
I guess they're going to try. Yeah, I'm not kidding. I guess to discredit him. You know what, like banana peel at the lunch table, that kind of thing. He's a bad kid. You can't believe him. It's not wild.
That's crazy.
I guess that's what I guess that was coming to. It's like, and now my son's like, oh, heck no, I'm not. I said, you might have to testify. And he's like, oh, no. Makes you just want to drop the whole thing.
Yeah, it gets crazy like that. People get real dirty. You might get lawyers involved. It can get pretty sticky.
Yeah, and we're like, all right, well, he did get his stuff back, but it just doesn't make you want to press charges. That's for sure.
Yeah, I understand that.
So anyway, Well, that was all. I just, I guess that's what we're coming to then. Like, okay, they've been letting everybody out of jail here real easily. So
Now, is that
anyway,
like, is that as far as like the whole, the no cash bail thing, or just, slaps on the wrist for actual things that they do?
yeah, I'm not sure exactly, but I just keep hearing that they just want to be soft on crime and, like it has to be real serious to lock people up.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's just, I like to be tough on crime if possible.
Yeah, that's probably the best way to go to keep crime from happening, to prevent crime.
Yeah, there's just more of them roaming around too. And where I live, there used to be no homeless people, but what they're doing is they're busing them into other areas so that they're not all in one place.
Right.
Actually, yeah, dropping them off and making sure they're scattered around. And so now we've got more. And I don't know if this guy was homeless or not, but we're just getting too many of those around here.
Yeah.
So
definitely.
anyway, yeah, I just wanted to say that, and hopefully we're not the model for the rest of the nation. Not good in general. But that was all. Anyway, I love your show and watch you every time.
Well, thank you for your call. Definitely appreciate you.
Yeah. Okay. Bye-bye.
All righty. Let's get to a few more. Let's go 608. You're on the line. Who am I speaking to?
It's Mike Bolson, or Mike.
All righty, man. What's going on?
Not a whole lot. My question was simple. Do you ever watch JLP, Jesse Lee Pearson?
Yeah.
You do? All right. Okay, that's cool as heck. That's the main question, basically. Because I see a lot of similarities or parallels between your guys' shows and stuff, except his is a lot more religious and stuff. But
I don't watch his actual show that he has. I've seen some of his like short videos, but I don't watch like the actual show.
Yeah. You heard of Hake?
Yeah. Shout out to him.
Okay.
I see him in the chat every now and again here, so shout out to him.
All right. Well, yeah, I'm sorry, man, not to waste your time. That was my whole question or whatever, because I like your show. I really do like your show, but that's one of my shows I follow too, is Hake and Jesse Lee Peterson or whatnot. So,
all right, man. Well, thank you for your call. I appreciate you.
Yep. No problem. Good talking to you. Bye.
All right. Yeah, shout out to the caller. Yeah, I don't watch the live show that he has. I see it when it comes on. Like, I see it in my recommended, but I never have time to watch it. I watch some of the smaller clips. And I don't watch as many as those because I want to keep my content more original. But yeah, it's a compliment, though. I like Jesse Lee Peterson. I met him at Politico in 2019. Yeah, he has that old uncle energy. Like, if you were to try him, like, all of this right here would be knocked back to Tuesday. But let's get to the next call. All right, call you online. What's speaking to you? 747.
Hey, how you doing?
Doing the right, can't complain. How's yourself?
I can't believe you answered my call.
I sure did.
That's cool as hell. So, of course, I'm a fan. I'll just say that real quick. And so the last lady who just called, who was talking about her kid in California, quick thing. So my little brother is the notorious copper bandit in California, and he had been serving his second long-term jail sentence, but Gavin Newsom let him out 3 years early. And so, I was worried about him. He's a heroin addict. He's got issues. So I said, Lance, if you do your taxes from 2 years ago, you might be able to get some stimulus money, So he did that. And then I said, you might want to try applying for pandemic unemployment assistance. Maybe you'll get the minimum. They paid him $12,000 for the last 6 months that he was in jail.
Wait a minute. Hold on. Who paid him that money?
Unemployment paid him for the previous 6 months while he was incarcerated.
Wow. And where is this at? What state is this?
California.
Of course.
Riverside County. It's outside of LA. It's kind of it's out by Palm Springs.
Okay. Wow. That's crazy. He's
a notorious copper bandit, my little brother. He's been on billboards and he's been in the paper because they go around, they strip the copper pipes out of new construction, they take the old fire hydrants, all that kind of stuff.
So you have a notorious copper bandit on drugs, but he's getting paid by the government out there?
Yep. gave him $12,000. First thing he did was he bought an old car and a whole bunch of drugs. And I was just pissed. It just, it blows me away that, that's our taxpayer money that's paying that. California doesn't have the money. The feds are paying all that unemployment.
Right, exactly. That's crazy.
But, I actually wanted to, everyone's telling you stories. I actually was originally, before I heard your last caller, going to ask you, what do you think about the battle of Mitch and ex-President Trump that's been going down?
I think that Mitch McConnell has earned what's coming to him from Trump, because he's just, I'm not sure what his objective is. Maybe he is desperately trying to get beyond Trump. Maybe he thought that Trump was just a flash in the pan. Just 4 years is over with. Nah, like, people have changed. The world has changed. The party has changed. And he's still trying to hold on to the old thing. And he's trying to, like, reassert himself, but he doesn't have the power he thinks he does. Although Trump's not in office anymore, he's still the leader of the Republican Party. The Republican Party is Trump's party, period. So Mitch McConnell might as well go ahead and quit. He can't do anything to try and put the genie back in the bottle. It's too late.
Yeah. Oh, see, that's what I thought. I felt like, he was like, when he came out, things would have been fine until he came out. And my impression was that he was actually really trying to get, some type of a criminal charge against Trump for what happened at the Capitol, just to make sure that Trump didn't have that power over him. Do you think he was just talking, or do you think he really was trying to get someone to press charges against Trump?
He knew that there was going to be there wouldn't be any charges, not from the impeachment, because the votes weren't there. He knew that, so it was just more about just trying to take the party back, because he knew that the whole thing would be it'd go in vain. It wouldn't really go anywhere, but he was still trying to have something like just like a spectacle to try and get his way, but it's not going to work.
Yeah. You don't think anyone will? Do you think they're going to try to bring charges still? Like state or federal charges against Trump for the riot, or no? The lawyers
would eat that apart. The lawyers would have a field day, because at that part, when she went to go to real court, okay, let's go to real court. Let's bring Nancy Pelosi to the stand under oath. Okay, let's bring AOC. Let's bring anybody that say anything crazy that could be compared to what Trump allegedly said before the Capitol. Let's bring everybody out there and really see what's going on. They don't want that party. They want to keep the inside stuff inside the house. They don't want to go to actual court beyond the walls of Washington, D.C. They don't want them problems.
Oh, okay. I sure hope you're right. Hey, thanks for taking my call. I listened to all your stuff, man.
Well, thank you for the call. Definitely appreciate you.
Yeah. Bye.
Yeah, they don't want to go beyond Washington, D.C. They don't want to do that. They want to keep inside business inside, because they can manipulate, they can control, they can do whatever they want. But once they get out there and have to really be open to actual lawyers and real courts and no kangaroo stuff, no. That's why they're not trying to really do nothing to Hillary and all. They don't want them problems. That's not going to happen. Because if that happens, hey, you're going to have Trump like Nino Brown. If I go down, I'm taking everybody with me. If I got to go down, look, I'm telling all the secrets. I'm giving up the codes. I'm telling you where the bodies are buried. I'm telling everything. That's how I'm going to do it. But let me get to the next one. 619, you're online. I'm speaking to.
Hey, this is Mitchell. Do you want my last name too?
It's all good. You good with that? So what's going on, Mitchell?
Yeah, I was listening to your show about how hospitals and everything you don't have no options by going to somebody else. I'll give you an example. I spent 6 months in City of Hope Hospital. I had a form of cancer. I spent 6 months, and then I came out. I was on 13 medications, and I went to take my driving test. And I went twice, and the person, she was like 18, fresh out of high school, and there's two different girls that did this, and 2 different days, and actually there's only 3 tests on the California driving test. And both times they reached up and they grabbed one that has a bunch of holes and they laid over. And both times I had to ask them to double check, and both times they grabbed the wrong answer sheet. And California, now you're allowed 3 wrong. I got 4 wrong, but you really couldn't tell. And basically the girl, the second time, what I did is I thanked her, and she got like a blank look to her face. And I said, thanks, you're going to save me thousands of dollars. And she goes, why? Now I don't have to pay, I choose not to drive. And I says, well, now you're going to save me car insurance. That's my story. Thanks. I've been listening to you for a long time, man.
Thank you for the call. Definitely appreciate you.
Oh, okay.
All right. Shout out to the caller. And we got quite a few more. If you guys enjoy what you're hearing so far, give me a thumbs up on the video, share the video, do all that good stuff. And like the video, share the video. Oh, if you're not subscribed yet, go ahead and subscribe to me right now. I don't know what you're waiting on. I don't know what I got to do. But go ahead and subscribe to the channel right now. I'd most certainly appreciate it if you did. And let's go. 860, you're on the line. Who am I speaking to?
Hey, ABL, it's Sonia. How are you?
I'm doing all right. How about yourself?
Okay. I was thinking about how the Republican Party is like turning into the party. Well, not the GOP that everybody's upset with, but you know how we're turning into, I guess, the one for the people, it seems, for the working man. I'm thinking that the people who push, for Biden, they're realizing that Trump is just too popular, whether they like it or not, even with minorities. I think that when Biden gave a speech on President's Day, it had less viewers than the rally in Florida when Trump was over there. They were doing something for him on President's Day, and it got more views. So I'm not surprised that now I'm hearing that maybe The Rock is considering running for president. Did you hear about that?
I think I heard about that when Biden was running, but I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, just throw somebody, Kevin Hart, The Rock, anybody, just throw them out there and see what happens.
Yeah, because you figure all these celebrities, they're already with the Democrat Party. And he came out in support of him. He interviewed him, and I had never seen The Rock talk about anything to do with politics before that, but maybe that was just me. And then when he was called as being in the lead on election night or that week or what have you, he was crying about it. So I'm thinking maybe they're setting the stage, because that kind of makes sense, because they're in bed with Hollywood anyway. And I always wondered, how could Biden even compete with Trump? I just thought it was so strange because they couldn't, the two of them together, it was just so clear that Trump was, more interesting, I thought, more popular, more exciting, gets more attention, love him or hate him, and I just don't see that excitement with Biden. So with someone like The Rock, I'm thinking they might step up their game, because I think they know that, and who knows why they chose Joe, because you would think they could pick anyone. They chose him. I don't know why.
But you know what, though? The thing about Joe Biden is that he's already part of the establishment. He's already on the team. So they can trust him to not go out there and reveal secrets and stuff. Now, if they get The Rock and you have him actually succeed and win, he's going to be privy to information that he probably shouldn't be. And if he's not, getting told certain things, he's going to be upset. He might go to the media and start talking. And then you can't really do something to The Rock as far as, give him some cement shoes or, it can't do that because he's too high profile. So it'll just be a mess. They want to have somebody that's already on their team, already been on the inside, so they can trust him to just do whatever they say and not ask any questions.
That's interesting. I saw it from the point of view that they need somebody that'll get everybody fired up, because you figure, against The Rock, it would be hard to compete, right, in terms of the younger voters. But let's see. Another thing, I was so concerned because Bill Gates, he's talking about wanting us to eat synthetic beef from now on because we're a rich country eventually, like as the norm. And then he's also buying up all this farmland. And when he's not doing that, he's spraying the sun. So what gives?
That's a really good question. I saw the whole thing about the synthetic meat. I'm like, okay, I'm kind of putting two and two together. You want to buy part of farmland And then you want to talk about synthetic meat. So if you're buying farmland that may normally have, grazing cattle on it, and you're not going to have grazing cattle. So are you trying to intentionally reduce the amount of farmland that will have grazing cattle to make the price of the beef go up, to make it less affordable? So we be forced to stop eating it? That's kind of where my mind goes. So
literally forcing it down our throat.
Right. So I'm thinking about he's trying to just push this whole thing on us rather than just giving a kind suggestion.
Oh, my God. Well, he doesn't have any kids, so he won't be around forever. So hopefully his ideas end with him.
There you go.
And this 2020 election where, you couldn't have ID and you couldn't verify signatures and you couldn't do this or that, apparently, now that they got all the signatures for Newsom's recall, they will be verifying every last signature. Ain't that funny?
That's hilarious. That's really, really funny because when we say, hey, verify all the signatures, do everything, oh, you guys being paranoid, you QAnon supporters, take the tinfoil hat off, everything was fine, the election was free, it was fair and it's open. But now, when one of their guys is getting threatened with removal, oh, we got to verify everything, make sure everything was fine. And, oh, okay, I see how it goes when it's on the other side. You guys want to make sure that everything is right. But when it is a thing that can hurt you, you don't want to. So that's interesting.
Big time. And now I'm going to leave you with another woke game. You ready?
All righty.
You're stranded on an island, and you have to pick between these two social justice warriors, Joy Reid or Ayanna Pressley.
Oh, wow. You know what? I'm gonna take Ayanna Pressley because I think Ayanna Pressley, she seems like she's more, she got more strength, like a she's like a linebacker, NFL linebacker. So if you got battle some lions and tigers, she'll have my back. She's like the Wakanda warrior. Already got the bald head, so she can get a spear and get it rolling. But Joyanne Reed ain't gonna do nothing.
Good choice. All right, ABL, have a good show.
All right, thank you for the call. I appreciate you.
You're welcome. Bye.
Yeah, that's a good question. Ayanna Pressley kind of, stocky. When the lion comes, she can be like, hit that spear right in the head. So we're going to have some lion meat straight up and down. Okay, look at the next one. Let's go 202. You're on the line. Who am I speaking to?
Hey, ABL. My name is Joe, and I'm calling from the nation's capital. How are you this evening?
I'm doing all right. How about yourself?
Oh, I can't complain. Thank you. Hey, I just wanted to briefly talk to you about some statistics I crunched earlier this fine evening when I was listening to some lectures by Tom Sowell and such. So it mostly had to do with the concept of institutional racism, right? So I came to the realization that academia is one of our major institutions here in America. And if you look up a lot of the average GPAs and test scores, et cetera, it actually makes it the highest standards of acceptance are usually for Asian students. Like they'll have the highest GPA, highest SAT score, et cetera. So I guess I would argue that if we do have institutional racism, which I don't personally believe that we do, wouldn't you say that's working more against Asians, but you don't really hear a lot of Asians complaining about systemic racism?
Yeah, I mean, you definitely see it more against Asians. It's not this whole thing that the media wants to say.
Right. Yeah, excuse me. Sorry, I'm out of breath because I was working out because I want girls to like me, the biological kind, though, not the other kind. So, yeah, I just thought it was interesting because I noticed that, I think that that's the problem with race-based standards here in America. I specifically was curious because I was watching your earlier video about the 8 cantos of whiteness or whatever you want to call it, all the way from the white supremacists to white abolitionists. So good times. And I think that what's also ironic is that a lot of people don't even realize that up until 1950s, actually black household income, up until the 1950s, I should say, black household income was increasing at a rate faster than white household income, right?
Yep.
But then it was the argument among most economists, including, Milton Friedman, Thomas Sowell, Walter Williams, rest his soul, is that the welfare state is what ultimately destroyed the growth of black income in the United States. Is because it incentivized women to marry the government and it encouraged men to abandon their responsibilities. And the one common denominator among prosperous adults is having had a 2-parent household as kids. That's of all races. So I guess I would say it's more cultural than anything else. So excuse me. But yeah, that's my soapbox rant, ABL. So thank you for giving me a platform upon which to rant. I really appreciate your time, sir.
And thanks for the call, man. Definitely appreciate you. Good call. And to go back to the point he made at the very end about, the welfare state stifling the black success, the black family rising, it started with the minimum wage. Before I say that, I'm going to say this. At one point, the black community is what the Hispanics are now. See, what the Hispanics are now, they go out there, they work, they do lower paid jobs that so-called Americans don't want to do. We were them at one point. Maybe not quite as skilled, but we were just the same as them. There was no need for them because you had us. We could work for less and do certain things that regular normies didn't want to do, right? But then what happened was minimum wage. That applies to U.S. citizens. You be over here illegal, work under the table. That doesn't apply to you, does it? So the minimum wage, if there was racism at a certain point in time, it was negated by the free market. Because let's say you have a white employer, right? Or a white contractor, and he's subbing out work to you and your friends, you black, you're going to do it less than the white crew would do it. That's Hispanics right now. And we're going to go hard. We're going to be hungry. We're going to really be motivated to get it. That's Hispanics now. But then when they changed minimum wage law, it no longer became beneficial to hire the black crew because it's getting paid the same as the white crew. So I'm going to hire the white crew, or I'm going to get the illegal up under the table and pay them less than everybody because I can skirt that law. Now you got the Hispanic population exploding. Ever since then, exploding. Because before, like, the 60s, it wasn't really a big illegal alien population. It wasn't really like that. But now, since the money is there more than what it was, and people have become more liberal, oh, come on over. It's all good. That's what's happening. So the welfare state, the minimum wage, all these things, it was damaging to everybody in the country, to blacks and the whites. Like I was saying before, at one point in time, I think in 1960, the black single parent household rate was 20%, which was very high back then. The liberal Milton Friedman, but you guys know what I'm talking about. Daniel Patrick Moynihan, the liberal, he wrote a report called the Moynihan Report. And in the report, he said that 20% black single parent household rate was an emergency. It was a serious problem right away. 80% two-parent married household was a problem. It's too low. We need to get up to like 90%, 100%. The white marriage rate or the white, two-parent household rate was 95% at that same time. But now the white two-parent household rate is about 75%. Which was lower than it was for us back then when it was emergency. And our single parent household rate is 75%, which is just catastrophic. Thank the welfare state for that, but I digress. So the rate is obviously much higher in the black community, higher than anybody in the black community, but the percentage increase is much higher among whites than it is among blacks, if that makes any sense. So it's a problem from all of us. But the Hispanics coming over here, oh no, they're Catholic. They ain't wearing no protection. 4 or 5 babies coming out. They're reproducing heavily. I'm gonna get to the call in a minute, but my last story before I get to the next call. They had this documentary about this caravan coming across the border, right? From Honduras, Nicaragua, Mexico, etc. There was a lady they were focusing on who was pregnant on this flatbed truck coming across the border, right? When she got to the border, she hopped the border fence, literally hopped the fence, actually climbed over the fence, got to the other side, had the baby in America. Now you got an anchor baby, right? So she won't be deported. The baby ain't going to be deported. And all of a sudden, here comes a whole husband out of nowhere and a 4-year-old. So rather than just having one lady coming across, you got a family of 4. That's happening right now. And then the husband probably going to go work and build some houses or something like that. And then the mom will go work in the hotel, cleaning the beds and stuff like that. That's the truth. But I'll digress. I'll get to the next call. 803 on the line. Who am I speaking to?
Yeah, hey, ABL virus. I'm a truck driver. I called once before months ago. So I just have a question for you, really two. One, what do you think about that Annabella thing? The host of The Bachelor, I think he took a temporary leave because one of the contestants, we saw that she went to an antebellum party. Did you hear about that?
I think I did hear about that, yeah.
Well, he took a leave of absence. And they were saying, I think on The View, how he should have tried to like go easy on the woman. Like he should have been hard on her because I think it was another contestant, and he was actually being interviewed by a black contestant, and the women on the view was like he should have known better. He should have, dismissed her as racist and all this type of stuff. What do you think about that?
I think it's just overblown, really, because it's a party. I mean, I've been to parties where the theme is like Old South and all this and that. I mean, it's not really a big deal. Let's say we're up there, beating on black people or something stupid like that. I don't see the problem. Like, I don't even know. Right. Yeah, I don't really see. I think it's just being they're trying to be too woke and too, they're doing too much, really, in my opinion.
Right. Now, this is my last point. CAB, okay, I'm black and you black. And I don't know, man. I feel so type of way about myself. Okay, I'm 32, and I got caught up in this whole, I got caught up trying to fit in with the black people I used to be in high school with. And then as I got older, particularly in this town we live in, I see what our race is so attracted to. And I'm talking about highly educated people. I use the term we use. I'm like, that's why I'm just not pro-college. Because our people we attracted to, like Cardi B, Love and hip hop, stuff like Empire. But what shocked me is that you got so many so-called educated black people that are so attracted to the smoke stuff. And I'm thinking they not overdoing it. Like they pandering to us like we little kids. Like I'm like, am I just living in the twilight zone? Like how can black people not be offended by this? Like I'm not a special needs child. The black people, we got to be extra nice to them. It feels so insulting. And I'm just wondering, and maybe I'm not talking to enough because I just feel like, I don't know, like it's just a lost cause trying to help. Like I can't do what you do or Candace Owens because I would feel like I'm just wasting my time. Like, what do you feel? Like what do you think? Because I just feel, I don't know, kind of like in a hopeless situation.
Now, as far as what? As far as trying to reach people, like what are you trying to do?
Well, just the mentality, did you talk to black people and that are just so down with this Black Lives Matter, or is it just people like us that's just here, like that's just looking at this, like why are they pandering to us like this? Like this is just insulting. Have you ever talked to anyone who was down with the Black Lives Matter people? Now they just feel like okay, they are pandering. Like this is getting ridiculous.
Well, sometimes they do come up on the chat. Sometimes they call in. It may not be. You may not have a very high success rate. Like I'm talking, doing what I'm doing. Now, a lot of black folks, probably the majority, when they hear me, they're not gonna want to change their mind. But some are, and as long as some people are, then I think we're making some progress. It ain't gonna be a thing where you could just say common sense and everybody just picks up on it overnight because they've been taught this false stuff for a very long time, so their mind is going to be in that place for a minute. But some people are kind of open-minded, and then they may change their mind. If I can reach them, then I'm happy. I can't reach everybody, and that's fine. But some people can be saved, but not everybody, though.
And do you think I should just change my social, target? Because I just feel like, man, all the black people, and particularly I got caught up in the black church trap. I used to look up to church people because of the fact they went to church, and I'm like, but outside the church, they into all this crazy stuff, the hip hop scene, and and I'm not going to call it a YouTuber, but one YouTuber said it seems like our people that are we just most of us are just allergic almost to kindness, we just despise that, we're attracted to rude people, we're attracted to angry people, we're attracted to this stuff and like this stuff, and it's so disheartening because I'm like, man, I think this YouTuber was right. We like the word, Brandon Tatum said that we celebrate people with the lowest characteristics.
Yeah.
That's what we are attracted to. Do you think there's ever going to be hope? As far as me, should I just try to change my social, target? Because it just seems like it's just depressing. I'm exhausted. Like I said, I'll be 33 my birthday. And I'm like, this is just, I got a life to live. And, I do want to have a social circle. But I'm like, I just can't develop that with the church or just with my own people in general. And I just feel like it's just a loss, like it's a waste of my time. And it don't have to be about the politics. It's just in general.
Yeah, my thing is this. I think I had more success when I stopped trying to look at it from the black angle exclusively. Because for a while, I'm trying to be, doing it for the black community, black this, black that. But I kind of dropped that because I realized I was not getting anywhere. It wasn't helping me, and it was just causing conflict. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna have my message out there for anybody that want to listen. I don't care who it is. And when I did that, I think I was able to get more black folks to really understand, because they had to reach that same point of view as well. I couldn't reach them if I couldn't reach them if I just had this whole thing about black this, black that, because they were not there. I got to go to where they at, not only physically but mentally. I got to go to where they are if I'm able to reach them. But the black folks stuck in this whole black this, black that, they're not really going to be saved until they get out of that mindset. Once they leave that mindset, then they can be helped. But until then, they're going to be trapped in that whole thing, because they want to be in the circle with their friends and their family. They're all in the black stuff. So if you're going to try to get into that, you're not going to be able to, because you got other people that don't want to hear what you got to say, that don't care nothing about nothing. They're going to shout you down, and then they're going to shame them, the other person, for fraternizing with you. So just open your horizons and, do with everybody, and you're going to save more black folks that way, in my humble opinion.
All right, man. Well, like I said, I appreciate you, and I see you on the road, so I don't want to hold you up, man. Thanks for taking the call.
Thank you for the call, man. Definitely appreciate you.
All right, see you.
Yeah, that's a good call. But, you can't worry about just trying to save black folks. You can help black folks, but you can't help them directly, like in the so-called black community. You got to leave up out of that, divorce yourself from that kind of black mind state, and have a message for everybody that anybody can hear. Because those you want to reach that are black are going to hear you better that way. That's been my experience. Because when I was in the black this, black that, I was having no success. Once I became more broad and for everybody, I had more success that way. That's just the way it is. Alrighty. So thank y'all for being here. Definitely appreciate you guys. If you enjoyed what you're hearing so far, give me a thumbs up. Like the video, share the video, do all that good stuff. But yeah. 724, you're on the line. Who am I speaking to?
Hello?
Yes, caller. Who am I speaking to?
Zach.
Alrighty, Zach, what's going on?
Yeah, ABL. Hey, man, long time listener, first time caller.
Alrighty.
I was hearing Mark Dice and yourself talking about the town square or whatever the heck that thing's called. Biden was talking on.
Yeah, the town hall. Yeah.
Town hall. Yeah, whatever. When he was talking about the China thing, essentially the genocide camp. Let's be real, that's what it is. He was just writing it off. He didn't criticize that at all. He just said it was due to China's different norms, I think it was. What the heck is going on with that?
Yeah, that's crazy. I heard that tonight on the show. I did not hear it before, but I heard it on the show tonight. That's crazy, because there's no way. Like, there's certain things that morally are universally wrong. There's certain things that are morally wrong based upon your cultural identity. Like, if you go to Saudi Arabia, they can beat their women for no reason. Not that Saudi, pardon me, Iran. They can beat women for, like, small infractions. But you can't do that over here. That's not right. But one thing that should be universally seen as wrong is, imprisoning innocent people, killing innocent people. That should be seen as wrong. So there's no cultural norm that says you could put a person in the concentration camp because it's their culture. Because that'd be the same thing as saying you could put Jews in the camp in Germany because it's their culture. It's wrong. If it's wrong then, it's wrong now, regardless of where it happens.
Yeah, I don't know why he wouldn't, criticize that kind of thing. I mean, I know it's about money. He doesn't give a damn about selling America out to China, to China. I hope people are waking up and seeing that, a lot of the normies out there that might have voted for the left, I'm sure they're having some voter remorse at this point.
I think they are. Yes, I think you're right about that.
Absolutely. I mean, there's all kinds of examples of that, but I just wanted to call in and weigh in on that, see what your thoughts were. But that's about it, man. Thanks.
Thank you for the call, man. Definitely appreciate you.
Have a good one.
All righty, Kelly, what's going on?
Hey, how are you doing?
I'm doing all right. About yourself?
Oh my gosh. Yesterday, I sent you an email, and I don't know if you got it or if that's why you did your video on the 8 levels of whiteness.
I got your email and I responded to you. Matter of fact, I did do that because you sent me the email. Yes.
Let me tell you something. I made a video yesterday about it on my Pray as One channel from my perspective. And it wasn't near as good as yours because you're so you. And but I was just appalled at that, how loaded the language was. You know, when I got to the level of white confessional, I'm like, what am I supposed to do? Say, forgive me, Father, for I am white?
Exactly.
I mean, the words were so loaded. And I don't know, you know, it went from red, and the name of my video was You White, You Bad. And it was just crazy, such loaded language. And it's maddening. I think the thing that made me the most angry was when it said the burden of blackness. I so disagree that if you're a person of color, if you're somebody who has black skin, that you have to consider yourself as a burden.
Right, exactly. And you know what? It just kind of reinforces what I say about these people. It's like they are the racists. If they just take a step back and look at what they're talking about, this is racism. It's the same thing that they say they're trying to fight against. They are.
Absolutely. You know, and I have a mixed race grandchild. So and none of that matters to me. None of it matters. What matters is people. Seeing people as people. I don't think in the winter storm that it mattered, you know, what color you were if somebody dug out your, you know, your driveway, your walkway. It's people loving people, and these things like I watched your video just before about you said these people are being red pilled. Well, I think the pills are in suppository form now. Just saying. So, yeah, I loved your video. I was so excited. I'm like, oh my gosh, I think you got my email. You made one. But I'd love for you sometime when you have nothing else to do to watch my video.
Well, I'll check it out for sure. And your channel is, one more time?
Pray as One, just like my name in the chat. I'll put it on there. But thanks for the shout out. And oh my gosh, that was so exciting. So, yeah, I guess I'm going to have to work a little bit to get to be a white abolitionist.
Yeah, you got to do the work. You really got to be out there on the front lines. You got get your shield and all that kind of stuff prepared. Get your battle armor ready.
The only thing I know how to do to get rid of my whiteness is go to the tanning bed. That's the only thing I know. Okay, yeah, people better get ready for their red pills, or if they haven't taken the pill, get ready for the suppository.
There you go.
Okay.
All right, now.
Nice talking to you.
All right. Great call. Yeah, I didn't even know it was her. I got the email. I didn't know it was her. I was like, yeah, that's a good one. Because I started to read the article. It was like, yeah, this is crazy. Yeah, I do read you guys' emails. I read them all the time. And sometimes I do videos sometimes based on your emails. If I get a good tip or something I didn't know about, I look into it, I read it. Yeah, I definitely do a video. And if you did not see the one I'm talking about, when she's talking about the 8 levels of whiteness, the 8 circles of whiteness, whatever it is, just go to my website and also go to my YouTube channel, of course. Go right here. It's right there. To circle back, as your friend Jen Psaki says, let's talk about the antebellum party. If you don't know what that is, the antebellum party is a party with the theme of Old South wear. All right. So here's a picture. Here's an example of what that is. All right. So this is like Old South stuff right here, right? The guy in the top hat and some of the big dresses and that type of thing. And you're in front of this old house with the big porch. You know, that's antebellum. Antebellum South, basically, the Old South. And they say it's racist because a lot of times you will have like slave plantations in places like this. You might see the kind of stuff in like the Django Unchained, that type of thing. All right. Although in reality, not all plantations or slaves lives like this. You had slaves in the salt mines in West Virginia. It wasn't no stuff like this going on, but that's a different story. So, but yeah, they say it's racist. Now, here's the picture in question that had the guy take a leave of absence. All right, so one of the contestants had this on. All right, that's what she had on. So for wearing a so-called antebellum style dress, they're trying to call her a racist, Klan member, white supremacist, all for this dress. That's right. It's like, really? Is that what we're gonna do? All because of a dress that somebody wore? If they were up there torturing people or something like that, beating people, I'd be like, okay, you need to go to jail for that. But for wearing a dress at a party, I've seen parties that you actually got some things going on that shouldn't be going on. For real. This is nothing. But, everybody's so sensitive about race, and you got people that are sensitive about race and want everything to be a race thing so they can capitalize on it. And then you have those that are afraid of being called a racist and super woke people that don't want to be called racist, so they all overreact. And what you have is this as a result, freaking out over a pink dress. But hey, it is what it is. Let's get to some more calls. A modest dress, yes, modest. No cleavage or nothing. A nice young lady wearing a dress, and that's somehow a problem. But hey, that's the world we live in now, unfortunately. But I'm glad that a lot of you guys are waking up and saying, you know what, I don't want to be part of this no more. I'm done. I'm just excluding myself from this whole situation. I'm glad you guys are waking up. 575, you're on the line. Who am I speaking to?
Hello?
Yes, 575. Who am I speaking to?
Hey, ABL, how's it going, man?
Everything's all right, man. How about yourself?
Good, man. This is Jeffrey, here in New Mexico. So, got a lot of different things to say, man. I listen to you all the time. One, congratulations on getting married. I just got married recently, too. Crazy.
Oh, thank you, man. Appreciate it. And congrats to you as well.
Thank you. It's a commitment like no other, and people need to understand that part.
Right.
So the minimum wage thing that you guys were talking about earlier, they're going to take somebody that will work on a machine for $15 an hour over a person that's going to do that job for $15 an hour.
That's facts. That's big time facts. People don't understand that though.
To fix the machine will take less to pay the person at $15 an hour in maintenance than to have an actual person doing it. First. Simple.
Absolutely. And then the thing about it is, not only will it cost less just from the hourly wage, it'll also, you won't have any liabilities really. It won't be any EEOC complaints. Oh, the person was racist, all this, that, and the third. You're not even going to deal with them.
Sexual harassment?
No sexual harassment. All you're going to do is just, in the morning before they open up, you just go in there, work on the machine, and leave. And sometimes you can just send a software update remotely. You only got to go to the store. Just push a button, send a software update, and boom. Whatever problem happened, whatever issue there was, it's fixed. So
through rain, sleet, or snow?
Yes, that's right. 1,000%.
And so you have that, you take away jobs. I mean, basic.
Right. Correct. And, that should be kind of common sense, but unfortunately, common sense is uncommon.
Right. So machines don't deal with racism.
No, not at all. But you know what? So, I'm gonna pause right there. I saw an article today. I don't know. It could be fake article. I don't know what it is, but they were saying that if we continue to develop AI, it could be racist against black people. I'm serious. It said that. I was like, okay, stop.
No way.
I'm serious.
Oh no. Goodness.
I was like, man, come on, stop it. It's just. But you see how desperately they're trying to cling on to this whole thing.
That's like saying the weather's racist.
Right. It's like the weather is the weather.
It's only affecting the South.
Right. All right.
So, yeah, I mean, to say AI could possibly be racist, I mean, who's developing it?
Yeah, right.
I mean, you put the the 8 levels of white on there. So what happens if you're mixed? What if you're half and half? What do you do?
It's gonna be a glitch there. It's gonna be, I don't know what to do. I mean, because you got the black, you got the white. What takes priority?
Well, where am I on the list then, or on the little Richter scale that they have?
Hey, I mean, I can't call it. And then even those that are people like me that look like they just straight from Africa, but my great granddad was half Irish. I mean, what if I got 10% or 20% white DNA? Do I get that equivalent amount of privilege for that? How does that really work?
Exactly. And so so you're gonna hand it to these? Where do I go now? What's my choice? I like that, man. I like that. Where do I look at it? You know?
Right.
So, the other thing that I wanted to say or talk about is the whole impeachment deal.
Okay.
The fact that they did it as a private citizen is bogus. We all know that. Shouldn't have done it. Do you think that his defense did enough to point out all the other side's blunders?
All the what now?
All the other side's blunders, like everything they've been saying against President Trump this whole time. Do you think they did enough to point it out?
I think so. I think they did what they needed to do. I think they were able to prove their case. They were able to have a strong defense against the claim. I mean, they could have done more, of course, but I think they did an adequate enough job. They did well enough to counterpunch, especially to have there really be no doubt in the situation, in my opinion.
Right. Last thing before I go, the whole black woman playing the Queen of England. Seriously, like, what are we doing? Like, that's history. It's already proven. There's no reason to do that kind of stuff.
Yeah, it's just the wokeness factor. People just trying to be woke, trying to just change history. Really, that's what it is. Because the Queen of England was an actual person, the real person that existed. People are still alive today that were her descendants. Prince Harry, all these guys, that's their great grandmother or whatever. So this is a real person. But people are just so hungry for wokeness, they don't even look at it that way, unfortunately.
And that's sad. And where are they going to draw the line?
There's never going to be enough for these people. If they get their way in this situation, it'll go to the textbooks, to actual real. It won't be about movies and TV and stuff like that. It'll be about actual textbooks, changing those to make it be a different reality than what actually happened.
Just for their agenda.
Right.
Yes, sir. Thank you. I appreciate you, man. Thanks for everything you do, man. Thanks for everything. I appreciate it.
All right. Thank you for the call.
Good night.
All right. Now, I appreciate it. All righty. Let's get to the next one here. The number to call, 434-658-1220. All right. So let me see. Let's go 434. You're on the line. Who am I speaking to?
Oh, hi. This is Ricky in Virginia. How are you doing?
I'm doing all right. I can't complain about yourself.
Doing well, doing well. Well, isn't this an eventful day? Texas freezing over, Rush Limbaugh passing, and Joe Biden calling Hispanics unable to control the internet. This is a ridiculous time that we live in, don't we?
It's a crazy time. It's a crazy time, but I can't say that I did not see it coming.
I totally agree with you. It's just, that to me, this is just, I don't know what to say. It's just too much for me today. But I didn't catch earlier. I just realized what time it was. But did I miss Ivan talking on the phone today?
Nah, I don't know. He hasn't called in.
Oh, he hasn't called in. Oh man, I think he's your biggest fan. I think he just doesn't want to admit it though.
Hey, maybe so.
But Man, isn't that a disappointing tragedy to hear today that Rush Limbaugh did pass? That's a bit sad right there.
Yeah, it is. It really is. You know, he was definitely one of the best, if not the best, to ever do it.
Yeah, it's definitely. But it's so disappointing to see the left just attack this man on his deathbed. That's just, to me, that just seems very disrespectful to the dead. Especially it doesn't matter if you dislike or disagree with the person while they're alive, but it's just a huge sign of disrespect to them.
No, of course, but they don't really, these people, really, really big hypocrites. They don't really care about doing things properly. They just pretty much do whatever they want.
Yeah, and it's rules for thee, but not for me. That is just complete hypocrisy.
That's right.
Yeah, just uneventful. But I wanted to get your thoughts now. I know you got this question asked a while, I think a couple of weeks ago. But if now, who would be the 4 people that you would want to go golfing with? Would Rush Limbaugh still be one of those people that you'd like to go golfing with?
Oh, yeah, definitely. I mean, Rush, I could learn so much about conservatism, about, doing like a radio type of thing, just doing what he did. I could learn a lot from him from doing what I do. Just we can talk to each other about that, and I can just gain skill in doing what I'm doing now. So I talked to him about that. Trump, of course, I got to talk to Trump. I know he's an avid golfer. I've been to Trump Doral, the resort down there in Miami, beautiful resort. So we can just go down there to his spot, go to the Arnold Palmer room and just hang out. Let me see. I think I said Booker T. Washington because Booker T. Washington, at a certain point, he was living in Malden, West Virginia. That's where all my family's from that area, like Rand, Malden, Bill, Charleston. It's like the outskirts of Charleston, basically. So I'll talk to him about that church that he went to. That some of my other family, they were the ministers and preachers in. Let me see. And I forget what I think I said Thomas Sowell or Milton Friedman. Yeah, the economist, Milton Friedman, because he was a big part of my red pill experience, being able to get somebody that understands money, understands the economy from a philosophical point of view, understanding certain things that work, certain things that don't work because of the nature of humans. So I talked to him about that. You got Rush for the radio, for the conservative experience, for his knowledge from the years talking to people. Trump for his business acumen, the political things that he's done. Booker T for becoming from being a slave to becoming, creating a school and really having a big rise and understanding how to operate in the world. And Milton Friedman for his economic knowledge. That'd be my 4 right there.
Interesting. Well, thank you for taking my call. Keep up the good work and, live long, man. Keep up the fight.
Thank you for the call. Definitely appreciate you.
Bye.
Yeah, that was a good call last time. I was talking about who I would go golfing with, my top 4. Yeah, that'll definitely be it right there for sure. And there's many more I could go golfing with, of course, but those are just 4 that I named at that moment, and I think I still stay to that same list for sure. All right, so let's get to some more calls here. All right, call you on line 209. Who am I speaking to?
This is Coyote, old man. How you doing?
Doing all right, man. Can't complain about yourself.
Hello? Can you hear me?
I heard you well.
All right. Hey, want to play a little game word with you. What do you think about this? Ever since I saw Trump come down the elevator, I was walking across my living room.
Huh?
Are we online or?
We're live right now. So is it a word game? Like when you say something, I come across with the first word?
No. Well, it's actually, it's not a play on words. It's what do you think when I say these words?
Okay.
Okay, so when Trump was coming down the elevator.
I thought he was joking.
And what's that?
I thought he was joking when he came down.
Well, actually, no. Actually, I was walking across the living room, and I saw that he was running for president, and he was coming down the elevator. And then I said to myself, hey, guess what? he's going to have to go with the Republican Party because Hillary was all over that, right? And then I thought, well, wait a minute. How much money do you think Mr. Trump donated to Bill and Hillary Clinton in the Democratic Party? Because think about it. He only had one way to go. And when he won, what happened? The Republicans really didn't want him. What if this time in 2024 he comes back and he says, I'm going to run on the Democratic Party side? What would happen?
It would never work because the Democratic side have been so radicalized with hatred for years against Trump. So that'd be the absolute worst person. You could pick a guy like Ted Cruz and make him be a Democrat rather than Donald Trump. It would never work because of the people. Now the establishment, they don't care. They'll do anything. They'll tell you a lie straight to your face with not even breaking eye contact with you. They don't really care. They'll tell you a lie with a smile on their face. But the people...
What if I told you that most of the people that I know were Democrats? They literally left the Democratic Party to vote for Trump, but not necessarily the Republican Party. And if Trump turned around and did a double back,
it's just no. It wouldn't because
where would all the Democrats go? Because they would be flooded with Republicans or people who follow Trump. You see what I'm trying to get at?
Because you got to deal with people though. Like some people that may do that, but the regular normie out there. I was
one of them.
I get it. I understand. But the regular normie out there is not going to do it. And a large enough is going to make a difference. And then also, it may kind of cancel out. So let's say you have some Republicans that decide, okay, I'll go ahead and vote Democrat because Trump's running as a Democrat. And then some Democrats decide to not participate. You see what I'm saying? So would it be more that don't want to vote on the Democratic side for Trump? Or would it be more that do vote who came over from the Republican side? You see, they would just stay home and not vote more than anything else.
Exactly, and that's the point. The point is they wouldn't vote for the Republicans, and they sure in the heck wouldn't vote for Trump because they've already showed that they don't like him.
So the strategy is run as a Democrat and make the Democrats not vote, stay home, and have Republicans come over and vote Trump because he's over there running. So by the lack of votes, you're going to get Trump in that way. Is that what you're saying?
Well, if you go back to 1980, you take a look, and if you follow his whole scenario of who he is, he's a Democrat, man. But he was playing in the Republican Party, so he had to fight the Democrats, he had to fight the Republicans, and he had to fight the media.
I mean, maybe so. Maybe so.
Just for a word on the play, say he turned around and went to the other side. What would that do to the whole political structure of this country? Just by him doing that. Because there's so many people who are Trumpsters. They're not Republicans.
I mean, you know what? You have a point. Because at first I was like, nah, it would never happen. But I see your point. That would cause the whole political world to just it'll do a tailspin. But see, you got to do with these gatekeepers, with these mongrels, these mouth breathers, and Nancy Pelosi's and all these people. You got to do with them.
True.
But
look how old they are.
Yeah, they're pretty much on the last leg. You know, they got one foot in.
We're coming to an end here with a lot of people, Pelosi and the guy that rides the train who's supposed to be the president and all that. And I'm not putting him down. Hey, he won. Okay, that's how they say. You know, they get what they want. But the bottom line is, what I'm saying is that the biggest thing that Trump did was what we wanted him to do. And if you remember what we wanted him to do, we wanted him to go in there and stir the pot, and he sure did. Well, what if he's not finished stirring the pot? See, I personally would like him to be starting a third party.
Nah, I don't think that's going to
jump back in the middle he wants to jump back in the middle in the fray with these guys, the dirtiest players I've ever seen. I mean, I'm 65 years old. I was sitting there watching Ruby shoot Oswald when I was 7. And I've watched all this go by. And I'm saying to myself, so did Trump. And how do you beat 17 politicians at their own game? You change the rules.
Right. I'm with you. Well, I got a few more calls on the line. Thank you for your call, man. Definitely appreciate you.
All right. Bye.
I know. So, I mean, I see his point. I see where he was going, but the third party. Okay, so if you had Trump to go to the Democratic Party, it'd be so much kickback from the gatekeepers. You wouldn't even really be able to get to point one. That Democratic Party themselves would actively campaign against Donald Trump. Actively. So, but that would cause people to not vote. And Republicans, they don't want to vote for a Democrat. So I don't see how it would really work. Yeah, I really don't see. But it's to the point now where so many things have happened that are crazy that I thought would never happen. But somebody said it in the chat, Trump's old too. Trump's no spring chicken. He's 74 or 75 now. I think he's 74. He'll be 75 this year. And by the time 2024 comes around, he'll be 78, 79. So, I mean, he's no spring chicken. Let's get to the next call. All right, let's go. All right, Skype caller, who am I speaking to?
Hi, I'm Daniel.
All righty, man, what's going on?
I'm calling from the UK. So I have to say, when I'm looking at all this identity politics going on in America, I think in Britain we didn't really have this problem until Obama came around and the woke identity politics started to travel across the pond. But in Britain, we used to have this distinction of you have working class people and you have middle class people. And the black and white folks just kind of all saw themselves as working class. But these days, I think, when you look at individuals like yourself that don't really think of yourself as black, I would say that you probably were more of that mindset that you're just a working class person, just a regular guy like any white guy is. And so I think that the times we live in, it makes sense to start, distinguishing people who are culturally black or culturally white and people who are culturally working class. So when I see these people that are doing this thing, like they want to play the Queen of England as a black person, I'm thinking, this is just that modern woke black culture. It's not a working class black man from America. And I think it embarrasses a lot of those ordinary black Americans that, just what I describe as working class black rather than this woke black.
You say it one more time now?
I think that this whole identity politics, this woke black culture embarrasses. It tends to be in a bit of an embarrassment to working class black culture in America.
It is. It is. And, the thing about it, people that are just working class black folks don't even identify with this. They don't even really pay too much any mind at all. They just kind of ignore it. Or if they get asked about it, they may support it, but they really don't know too much about it. They don't participate in all the shenanigans that's going on. The things you see on TV with the LGBT stuff, the black community does not endorse that at all. They're not like going out there celebrating that type of stuff. Those are things that people that are like, I guess you would call them the gatekeepers, the top level people, things that they promote, not just a regular average everyday person going to work every day.
Yeah, and I see folks like yourself that get sick of being called African American or Black American, whatever. You'd rather just be called American. I think in Britain, black folks here have always just said, I'm not Black British, I'm British. And, I think that as more people are being red-pilled in America, I'm seeing this rhetoric more amongst the working class Black Americans that, they're not black, they're not hyphenated American, they're just American, which is good to see, as more people are becoming more red-pilled.
Oh, definitely. I mean, I love to see it. People are just waking up and really realizing what's happening.
Yeah, because I've always been frustrated by that term African American, because that's like saying, well, you're not technically a real American. You're just some African who happens to live in America. That rhetoric just sounds really, wrong in my opinion.
It really is. It really is. We should just be, okay, I'm over here in America, born here, raised. My family been born here, raised here, American. Okay, I'm obviously black, but that's not my. I'm an American. That's what you should know the most. And the thing is, when I go overseas, if I was to go to Africa right now and I start talking, they're going to be like, oh, you're an American. They're not going to say you're one of us. They're going to say you're an American. That's just what it is.
Well, and that's not just your accent. It'll be your culture that they'll recognize as well. They'll be like, you're not culturally African. You're culturally American.
Correct.
But yeah, this whole hyphenated thing is just getting really annoying now, and I'm seeing it so much on these Democrat-related shows, and all of the liberal media. They use that term so much, then I just kind of think that they need a clip around the ear hole and told to grow the hell up and stop putting people into these categories. I don't describe myself as white. I don't identify myself as white. I identify myself as working class. And many of the black people in Britain, before all this woke ideology started to explode, many of them didn't identify as black. They identified as working class, just like myself. So we were united in that we were one group of working class people. We were working class culture, working class identity. That was it. That was who we were.
That's right.
So I just wondered, do you think that more of the black community in America are waking up to the identity politics may start to relate to this thing in British culture, where black and whites are just, identify more by social economic class rather than skin color?
People are starting to wake up. That's happening more and more as the days and the weeks and years progress. It might be kind of a slow process. I say that, but I think we are starting to wake up because we're kind of tired of all of this stuff. Those of us that are really understanding what's going on and really aware. A lot of us are just kind of in a sleeping state and we don't understand what's happening. But a lot of us do get what's going on.
Yeah, well, I hope that this is a positive movement for all of Americans of all ethnic groups. That you can finally identify by your social economic class and your commonalities rather than this divisive rhetoric that the Democrats have been pushing out for the past century or so.
That's right. Yeah.
Anyway, it's good talking to you. Take care of yourself and God bless America.
All right. Thank you for the call. Definitely appreciate you.
Take care, guys.
All right. Shout out to the UK guy. I like it. God bless America. It was great. You got guys in the UK that appreciate America more than some Americans. It's wild, but that's just how it is sometimes. All right. Let's get to maybe like one more call, I suppose. Okay, I had the call right there. I guess I was a little too close to the trigger. 504, you're on the line. Who am I speaking to?
Yeah, this is Chris from Louisiana. I just with this whole insurrection thing, I always wondered why nobody ever brings up the attack on the Capitol that happened in 1983.
I'm not familiar with it. What happened?
The Senate was bombed, and Bill Clinton pardoned someone.
Wow. Okay. Well, people don't want to bring that up because I think you got Slick Willie, Bill Clinton, that pardoned someone. So that is something that they want to just not conflate. They want to say, okay, this is Trump. He did it. He's the reason. He tried to incite an insurrection. But when they do something, they don't want to talk about it because it doesn't help them in their narrative, basically.
Yeah, it doesn't advance their narrative at all, but it's still mind-boggling to me that no one brings that up. I mean, that was a major attack on the U.S. Capitol, and, nearly a decade later, someone was pardoned by the President of the United States for that attack. And she's actually a member of BLM now.
Oh wow, really? Now, okay, was that the person that was like on the board, or the financial board of BLM?
I believe so, but I'm not entirely sure.
Okay, yeah. Wow.
Anyway, that was just my little tidbit of information. Wanted to put it out there.
Well, thank you for the call. Definitely appreciate you.
All right, man. Keep doing what you do.
All right, now I appreciate it.
All right.
Yeah, I think I did hear about that. That was the lady that was on the board of a company that handles the money for BLM. Okay, and she's like an actual terrorist. Good call. Really good call. You guys so smart, man. I can't do it without y'all. 619, you're on the line. Who am I speaking to?
Hello,
Yes, hello. Who am I speaking?
ABL,
Yes.
MJ.
All righty. What's going
How's
on?
your vehicle? I heard you are having a little trouble with leakage.
Oh no, everything's fine.
Oh, okay. I thought you said you had to put water in it every 5 minutes.
No, I was talking about a fictitious car. Like that was a whole story, but it wasn't my car.
I guess I tuned in late then. I missed a little bit before then. And I thought you had a problem with your vehicle, and I've had some experience. I started working on them when I was 5 years old.
Oh nah. Everything is all right. I got my truck. I'm loving it. Toyota. They built real nice, so it's all good.
All right. I heard the guy said he was happy that he didn't pass his tests, and he's going to save himself $1,000 a month. Well, you have a good night. I enjoy listening to you.
Well, thank you for the call. Definitely appreciate you.
You go.
All right, let's get to another call. 212, you're on the line. I'm speaking to.
Hello.
Yes.
Hi, Anthony. I don't get a chance to call into office. Anita Campbell, one of the baby boomers who follows you. Okay. Let me turn this computer down.
All right.
Okay. I want to start with Black History Month. First of all, I want to congratulate you on your marriage. And also, I'd like to say you guys were incredible when you had visited the White House, all you young people, a couple of years ago. So that's why I'm starting with Black History Month. We only have a few days left in Black History Month. And it is very interesting to me as a Black American and a baby boomer. We have not heard one word from the Biden-Harris administration. You did not hear me say president. I will not say he's not the president, but I will not refer to him as President Biden. It is only the Biden-Harris administration. So what I would like you to do before the month is over is I would like you to post the Black History celebration when all of you incredible young Black people and others went at the White House due to the invitation of President Trump, because I watched that. And when he said, Black Americans built this country, and I saw him throw up the Black Power sign, okay, please post that. Every Black American listening to me needs to be aware of who Biden is. Next, I was at the Capitol. I was there with Christopher Wright. I was the old lady in the car with them. We saw what was going on before we got to the Capitol. So the media has told complete lies. I did not have to follow Donald Trump's lead. I'm an adult. When the pandemic hit, it was very clear to me what was going to happen. Of course, I did not think Trump would lose. All we were asking for the VP to do, and I won't say, is count the you-know-what. Go back to those states, count them, let them present the information, and then whatever the result was, that would have been the result. That's all we all wanted. It is time for every American to wake up and leave the left. Now, in terms of Trump, if he starts a third party, I'll be voting for him. If the Republicans don't get their act together, and I mean it's going to take all of us to get rid of every single rhino, vote them out of office, that's what we're going to have to do. Trump will be, older. But like Bernie Sanders, Trump has a lot of spirit and he never stops. So I think he can run in 2024, barring any serious medical issue that comes up. We got to wake up. My last statement is this. Everybody needs to know the voting record of each congressman, councilman, anybody who is a politician. The voting records tell you whether they are a rhino or not. Black Americans benefited from Trump. We get nothing from the left. And I know every single segregationist, every Klan member, every president, I can cite them verbatim, that has been against Black Americans. I'm appalled at what they've said about Rush Limbaugh. Now, I didn't follow Rush, but I had a client who did. He had it on 24/7. And the entire time when I groomed his 4 Himalayan cats, I never heard Rush Limbaugh make any racist comment about Black Americans. Because, my client had it on 24/7. All I heard him talk about was being a conservative. I'm appalled at the treatment of the Black History Museum of Clarence Thomas. We've only had 2. He deserves to be in the museum. It is time for everybody to wake up and get a grip. And I was thinking about leaving New York City and moving to Europe. But I said, you know what? I may be a baby boomer, but I'm here to support every young person, anybody from 30 up to 60 to run for office. It's time for everybody 65 and over to retire. Go home, put your Pampers on, get gifts for your grandchildren, take a cruise, find a holiday, find a sport, golf, I don't care, do art, go home. It's time for all these people to get out of office. I don't care what their color is. So I'm supporting every young person, again, from 30 up to 60. That's the cutoff line. To run, get rid of every rhino, and we absolutely cannot vote as Black Americans for another damn Democrat. Congratulations on your marriage. You're a great young person. I don't get a chance to call in very often, but I was there for the Capitol, and we saw what was going on. All we wanted the VP to do is just let's find out what the truth was. That was it. And those attorneys hit it out the ballpark. Of course, the rhinos on Fox News went after them the first day. But I got their strategy. They did the right thing. So enjoy your marriage. Any children on the way yet?
That's the next thing on the list.
All right. Take your time. Enjoy the honeymoon period before you bring some young ones in there.
There you
You're
go.
an incredible young man. And I'm not leaving New York City. I'm here for the fight. And by the way, if I have to figure out how we're going to recall Cuomo, he's got to go because he will never get impeached if I have to start the petition to get rid of him. Take care, sweetie pie.
All right, thank you for the call. I appreciate you.
Bye-bye.
All right, great call. Great way to end the show. That'd be a wrap. 3 hours went there, so it just flew by. Thank y'all for joining yet again. I appreciate you guys. If you enjoyed the show tonight, please give the video a like. If you've not done so already, share the video as well. And if you're not subscribed, I don't know what's going on, but go ahead and subscribe to the channel right now. And this show will be available on your favorite audio streaming platform. That'll be Friday morning, 8 a.m. Eastern Time. Friday morning, 8 a.m. Eastern Time. This show will be available as audio only on your favorite audio streaming platform. And of course, I keep all the live streams on the YouTube. So if you want to see the replay, just go back here to this channel and watch it. And watch everything else as well. On my pre-recorded videos all throughout the week, watch those as well. So that'll be it for me. I got super chats on deck. Before I get to those, thank you to the moderators doing a great job keeping them trolls in check, keeping everybody, above board with the comments. I appreciate y'all. You guys know who you are. But thank you to all the mods. Super chats, I'm going to read those, and then I'm going to go ahead and wrap it on up, put the bow on the top. Let me see. Okay. I think I know where I was at. Okay. There we go. Thank you to Dan for becoming a new member of the channel as an ABL supporter. Shout out to Abby who said, shout out to the incredible group of people who tuned into the show. So many callers from all different walks of life. This is success, ABL. Thank you. I appreciate you. The Alpha and the Omega says, Texan here, power just came on, and my first move is ABL. All right, man, I'm loving it. Shout out to you. Thank you to Doreen for the keep it up, working out emoji. Shout out to Matthew who says, white actor for next MLK movie, Leo DiCaprio, George Clooney, Mark Ruffalo, Chris Evans, Tom Hanks, Seth Rogen. Do it up, Hollywood. It's woke. Hey, Seth Rogen as MLK. I'm with it, man. Take all my money. How about that? Shout out to Butt versus Windshield who says, when can we ask to have BLM flags or signs removed for being offensive? That's a good question. Katie says, remember when the CDC not wanting elderly to get the vaccine because of them being mostly white? They're ageist and whites aren't the only ones who can be bigoted. There you go. Justin says, I know a lot of people in California who got thousands in unemployment and haven't worked before COVID. Wow. Shout out to Family who says, that's amazing. Family also says, how can we donate and avoid YouTube's high fees for chats? There's a PayPal link in the box below. Also, I think it's a, what they call that? Cash App. It's a Cash App in the box below as well, if you want to do that. Shout out to Annie Gone Hart who says, hi, ABL. My boyfriend and I are enjoying the show tonight. Please send a shout out to Harold and I. Well, shout out to Harold and yourself. I'm glad you guys are enjoying the show. Shout out to Brighton Phillips who says, God bless the people in Texas. Absolutely. Pray As One says, thanks for the shout out for my channel at Pray As One. Yeah, she called in earlier, the teacher, Pray As One. That's her channel right there. Shout out to Ty Nicholas who says, how all the other races get to jump in on the people of color wagon. Imagine going to any other country and demand statue removals. Unrelated. Oh, it's all good. And thank you to Gemma for becoming a member of the channel as an ABL supporter. And thank you to Mixed Girl POV for the #1 fan emoji. I appreciate you very much. So that's all I got for tonight. Thank y'all again for joining. I'll be back again live on Saturday, of course. And then I'll be doing my regular vids all throughout the week. 2 a day normally. I'm going to try to get 2 out tomorrow. If you have any tips, any questions, comments, concerns, the email's on my website, contact@anthonyblogan.com. Don't spam my mail. I'm going to block you right away. But nah, for real. Any tips, please email because I might do a video on your tip. You never know. But that's pretty much all I got for tonight. So until next time, y'all be safe. I'm out. And peace.